Hello guys, welcome to Scion What If. So in this video, we will see what if Goku merged with all 12 universes. If you enjoy these kinds of stories, don't forget to show us some love by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Your support means the world to us. Now, let's start the story. Chapter 1, The Convergence. Goku's fist connected with Jiren's palm, sending shockwaves rippling through the Tournament of Power arena. The crowd roared as the two warriors exchanged blows faster than most eyes could track. Man, this guy's something else. Goku grinned, his blue hair blazing with the power of Super Saiyan Blue. Sweat dripped down his face as he pushed himself harder. But something felt off. Goku blinked as the arena seemed to shimmer for a split second. Nobody else appeared to notice. He shook his head and refocused on Jiren, who was charging up a massive energy blast. Kakarot, what are you doing? Move! Vegeta's voice cut through the noise from the sidelines. Goku snapped back to attention just in time to dodge Jiren's attack, flipping backward and landing in a crouch. The blast sailed over his head and exploded against the arena's barrier. Sorry about that. Goku called out, scratching the back of his head. Got distracted for a second. Jiren frowned. Focus, son Goku. This battle deserves our full attention. Yeah, you're right, but, Goku froze mid-sentence as the strange sensation returned. This time stronger. The entire arena seemed to ripple like water, and for a brief moment, Goku could swear he saw other tournaments. Other versions of himself. The images flickered in and out of existence like bad reception on a TV. Up in the viewing area, Whis narrowed his eyes. Something's not right, he murmured to Beerus. What do you mean? The god of destruction asked, mouth full of some exotic food. The barriers between universes, they're fluctuating. Whis tapped his staff on the ground. This shouldn't be happening. Back in the arena, Goku clutched his head as a sudden wave of dizziness hit him. What's going on? He muttered. The world around him started to blur and shift, colors blending together in impossible ways. Kakarot! Vegeta shouted, taking a step forward only to be held back by the rules of the tournament. Jiren stopped his attack, sensing something beyond their battle was occurring. What trick is this? He demanded, but his voice sounded distant to Goku's ears. It's not a trick. Goku managed, as reality continued to warp around him. He looked up to see cracks forming in the sky, not just the tournament barrier, but what looked like cracks in space itself. The Grand Minister floated down from his seat, his normally serene face showing concern. Everyone remain calm, he announced, though his voice betrayed a hint of urgency. We are experiencing some sort of cosmic disturbance. Zeno and his future counterpart watched with fascination rather than fear. Oh, pretty lights, they said in unison as the cracks in reality began to glow with multicolored energy. Goku fell to one knee, his transformation flickering as waves of unknown energy pulsed through him. Something's pulling me. He gasped. The cracks widened, and beams of light shot out, converging on Goku like spotlights. Each beam seemed to carry different energy signatures, 12 distinct patterns swirling around him. Whis! What's happening to him? Beerus demanded. Whis's eyes widened. Impossible, the essences of all 12 universes are converging on Son Goku. Can you stop it? Beerus asked. I'm afraid this is beyond even my abilities, Whis replied, genuine concern in his voice. The Supreme Kais from each universe looked on in horror as the fabric of their respective realities seemed to be drawn toward the Saiyan warrior. Make it stop. Supreme Kai of Universe 7 cried out. We can't. The Grand Minister replied, creating a barrier around the spectators. This event was foretold in the most ancient texts, though I never believed it would actually occur. Down in the arena, Goku screamed as the energy beams intensified. His body lifted off the ground, suspended in a cocoon of swirling universal energy. Hang on, Kakarot. Vegeta shouted. Fight it. Goku's eyes snapped open, now glowing with an unearthly light that shifted through every color imaginable. I can feel everything, he shouted, his voice echoing with power. The cocoon of energy contracted suddenly, compressing into Goku's body with a blinding flash. The shockwave knocked everyone back, cracking the arena and sending fragments flying in all directions. When the light faded and the dust settled, Goku stood alone in the center of a crater. But he looked different. His hair shifted colors subtly, as if containing the spectrum of all universal energies. His eyes reflected galaxies within their depths. An aura unlike anything seen before, not the blue of Super Saiyan God, not the silver of Ultra Instinct, but something entirely new, surrounded him, rippling with the essence of 12 universes. Goku? Krillin called out hesitantly from the stands. Goku turned slowly, his movements both fluid and jarring at the same time, as if he existed in multiple realities simultaneously. When he spoke, his voice carried undertones that echoed strangely. I'm here, and I'm everywhere. He looked at his hands in wonder. I can see everything. All 12 universes at once. The Grand Minister floated down cautiously. Son Goku, do you understand what has happened to you? Goku's gaze fixed on the Grand Minister, seeing layers of the angel's existence that had been invisible to him before. Not really, he admitted with a hint of his usual carefree attitude. But it's like I've become connected to everything. Every person, every planet, every universe. The barriers between universes have weakened, the Grand Minister explained. And somehow, you've become a nexus point, a being who exists in all realities simultaneously. Is that bad? Goku asked. Potentially catastrophic, came the grim reply. Beerus teleported down beside them. Fix this, he demanded. Now. I don't think I can, Goku said, his voice distant as his awareness kept expanding. And I'm not sure I want to. This feeling, it's incredible. Kakarot. Vegeta landed nearby, ignoring the tournament rules completely now. Pull yourself together. Goku looked at his rival, and for a moment, his eyes cleared. Vegeta, I can see your past, your future, all possible versions of you across every universe. I don't care what you can see. Vegeta snapped. You need to control this power before it controls you. Goku clutched his head suddenly, overwhelmed by the influx of information. So many voices, so many lives. I can feel them all. The Grand Minister turned to the other gods and contestants. This tournament is suspended. We have a situation of multiversal significance to address. Up in their viewing box, the two Zeniths pouted. But we were having fun. My apologies, your majesties, the Grand Minister called up. But if we don't contain this situation, there may not be universes left to have tournaments in. This sobered even the childlike Omni-Kings. Meanwhile, Goku began to rise into the air, his new aura expanding. I need space. He gasped, clearly struggling with the sensory overload. Kakarot, wait. Vegeta called, but it was too late. Goku vanished, not with instant transmission, which would have left a brief blur, but simply ceased to exist in one location and appeared in another. One moment he was in the arena, the next he was floating in space above the tournament venue. Can anyone follow him? Supreme Kai asked anxiously. I can try, Whis said, tapping his staff. But he's existing outside normal spacetime now. It won't be easy. From space, Goku stared down at the gathering of gods and warriors, seeing them not just as they were now but as they had been throughout their lives and how they might be in countless possible futures. The information was overwhelming, millions of sensory inputs flooding his consciousness simultaneously. I need to focus, he told himself, closing his eyes. But that only made it worse. With his eyes closed, he could see everything, every planet, every star, every being in all 12 universes. Son Goku. The voice cut through the chaos of his mind. Goku opened his eyes to see Whis floating before him. "You're experiencing universal awareness," the angel said calmly. "Few beings are meant to perceive reality this way." "It's too much," Goku admitted, his voice strained. "Focus on a single point," Whis advised. "Your home. Your family. Something anchoring." Goku tried to concentrate on Earth, on Chi-Chi and Gohan and Goten. But as soon as he thought of them, he saw not just his family but every version of them across all universes. Happy versions, sad versions, versions where they'd died, versions where they'd never been born. "I can't," he gasped. "Then perhaps it's best if you retreat somewhere isolated until you learn to control this new state," Whis suggested. "Somewhere away from populated worlds." Goku nodded weakly. "Yeah, good idea." He concentrated, and before Whis could say another word, vanished again. Whis sighed and returned to the tournament venue, where chaos had erupted among the gods. "Where is he?" demanded Belmod, god of destruction from Universe 11. "I don't know," Whis admitted. "His consciousness is spread across all 12 universes. He could physically manifest anywhere. This is unprecedented," Kai, Supreme Kai of Universe 11, declared. "A mortal containing the essence of all universes. It disrupts the divine order. We should eliminate him immediately," Rumesh, the elephant-headed god of destruction from Universe 10, suggested. "Before he causes irreparable damage to reality." "You will do no such thing," came the firm voice of the Grand Minister. "This situation must be handled delicately. Son Goku is not merely containing the universal essences, he has merged with them. To destroy him now might destroy everything." This silenced the gods, though their expressions remained troubled. "What do we do, then?" Beerus asked. "We observe," the Grand Minister replied. "And prepare." "For what?" Shin asked nervously. The Grand Minister's expression darkened. "For whatever comes next." Vegeta paced the reconstructed waiting area, his fists clenched in frustration. The tournament had been indefinitely postponed, but no one had been sent home. Instead, they were all being kept under observation while the gods debated what to do about Goku. "This is ridiculous," Vegeta muttered. "Instead of standing around talking, we should be looking for Kakarot." "And what would you do if you found him?" Piccolo asked from where he leaned against a wall. "This is beyond any of us, Vegeta." "I'd knock some sense into him." Vegeta snapped. "Remind him who he is before he loses himself completely in whatever cosmic garbage he's absorbed." "That might actually be helpful," came an unexpected voice. Vegeta turned to see Whis approaching. "What do you mean?" Vegeta demanded. "Son Goku is experiencing awareness on a scale no mortal was meant to endure," Whis explained. "He's perceiving all possible realities simultaneously. Without an anchor to his original identity, he may indeed lose himself." "So I was right," Vegeta said with a smirk. "Partially," Whis conceded. "Though I doubt physical violence will be effective against his new state. But a reminder of who he is, his connections, his identity as Goku, that could help him focus and maintain his sense of self." "Then let's find him," Vegeta insisted. "That's the difficult part," Whis sighed. "He exists everywhere and nowhere. Physically locating him will be challenging." "Wait," Bulma interrupted, stepping forward. "If Goku is connected to all universes now, wouldn't that mean he's connected to us too? Maybe we could. I don't know, call to him somehow." Whis considered this an intriguing possibility. His consciousness may indeed be receptive to those he shares strong bonds with. "Then let's try it," Krillin suggested eagerly. "We could all focus on Goku together." "It's worth attempting," Whis agreed. "But be prepared, the Goku you reach may not be exactly the one you remember." As they prepared to attempt contact, an ominous rumbling shook the entire tournament venue. The sky above, actually a void beyond the world of void where the tournament was held, began to darken further, if such a thing were possible. What now? Beerus growled, looking up. The Grand Minister appeared, his expression grave. I feared this might happen. The merger of universal essences has disturbed something ancient. Something that existed before the 12 universes were formed. What are you talking about? Beerus demanded. Before the Grand Minister could answer, a deep, bone-chilling cold swept through the area. Even the gods shivered as the temperature plummeted. It's awakening, the Grand Minister whispered. The void entity. The what? Several voices asked at once. A primordial force from before creation, the Grand Minister explained hurriedly. When Zeno created the multiverse, this entity was sealed away in the spaces between realities. But Goku's merger has weakened those boundaries. So now we have two problems, Beerus grumbled. No, the Grand Minister corrected grimly. We have one problem that may be our only solution to the other. If anything can stand against the void entity, it might be Son Goku in his current state. Light years away from the tournament, in the empty space between galaxies in Universe 7, Goku floated in meditation. Or at least, he was trying to meditate. His body remained in place, but his mind traversed all of reality simultaneously. He saw a child being born on a distant planet in Universe 6. He witnessed a star exploding in Universe 2. He felt the anxiety of Supreme Kai of Universe 9. He tasted the meal being prepared by a chef in Universe 5. The sensations were endless, overwhelming. But slowly, painfully, he began to develop a method of filtering. Rather than trying to block the input, which seemed impossible, he let it flow through him like water while focusing on a single point, his identity as Goku. I am Son Goku, he repeated to himself. Scion raised on Earth. Husband to Chi-Chi, father to Gohan and Goten. Each affirmation helped, creating a small island of stability in the ocean of cosmic awareness. Little by little, he was learning to function despite the infinite perspectives crowding his consciousness. As his control improved, Goku became aware of something else, a cold, dark presence stirring at the edges of his perception. Something ancient and malevolent, awakened by the disturbance his transformation had caused. What is that? He wondered, directing his awareness toward it. Instantly, he regretted his curiosity. The moment his consciousness brushed against the entity, it became aware of him. Goku felt a vast, hungry intelligence focus on him with predatory interest. So, a voice like the void between stars whispered directly into his mind. You are the one who disturbed my slumber. The one who carries the light of all universes. Goku pulled back instinctively, but the entity followed, tracking his consciousness across dimensional boundaries. Do not fear me, little spark, it continued. Your light has awakened me from an eternity of darkness. Soon, I will consume that light, and return everything to the perfect void. Who are you? Goku managed to ask, his thoughts projecting outward. I am what was before. And what will be after. I am the void that hungers for all creation. Goku felt the entity's attention shift, stretching out tentacles of anti-existence toward the populated worlds of Universe 10, the furthest from where Goku's physical body floated. No! Goku shouted, both mentally and aloud. He concentrated, trying to reach Universe 10 to stop whatever the entity planned. But he wasn't fast enough. His awareness reached Universe 10 just in time to feel the screams of millions as a small, outer planet was touched by the entity's power. In an instant, the entire world simply ceased to exist, not destroyed in a conventional sense, but erased from reality so completely that even its history vanished with it. Only Goku, with his multiversal awareness, remembered that the planet and its people had ever existed. I've got to warn everyone, Goku realized. With tremendous effort, he pulled his scattered consciousness back into his physical body and concentrated on the tournament venue. In an instant, he appeared in the center of the gathering, startling gods and mortals alike. It's consuming worlds, he shouted without preamble. Some kind of entity from outside the universes. The Grand Minister nodded grimly. The void entity has awakened. You knew about this thing? Goku demanded, momentarily focused enough to sound like his old self. It is as old as time itself, the Grand Minister replied. A force of uncreation that exists in opposition to all reality. When the universes were formed, it was sealed away. Well, it's not sealed anymore, Goku said. And it just wiped out an entire planet in Universe 10 like it was nothing. Rumesh, god of destruction of Universe 10, roared in outrage. What? Which planet? Goku tried to explain, but found he couldn't properly describe it. The planet had been erased so thoroughly that language itself lacked words for what no longer existed. I can't tell you exactly. But it was real, and now it's just gone. Completely gone. This is your fault, Scion. Rumesh accused, stepping toward Goku menacingly. Goku's expression hardened, and for a moment, his aura flared with the power of 12 universes. The assembled gods took an involuntary step back as they felt the immense power radiating from him. I didn't ask for this to happen, Goku said, his voice resonating strangely. But I'm going to fix it. How? Beerus asked skeptically. Goku looked down at his hands, which shimmered with universal energy. I don't know yet. But this power, there must be a reason I got it just when this void thing woke up. Perhaps, the Grand Minister mused, though whether you are meant to be the multiverse's salvation or its doom remains to be seen. It'll be salvation, Goku said with characteristic determination. I just need to figure out how to control this power properly. That's what I'm afraid of, Beerus muttered. Your learning curve tends to involve a lot of destruction. There's no time for extended training, the Grand Minister said. The void entity will continue to consume reality now that it's awakened. It will start with the outer reaches of the universes, but its power will grow with each absorption. Then I'll have to learn on the job, Goku replied with a grin that almost looked like his old self. It wouldn't be the first time. Vegeta stepped forward. You're not doing this alone, Kakarot. Vegeta. Goku's expression softened. This isn't like our usual battles. This thing, it's on another level entirely. So are you, apparently, Vegeta retorted. But you're still Kakarot, and you still need someone to keep you from doing something stupid. Goku laughed, and for a moment, the cosmic awareness receded, leaving just the Scion warrior they all knew. Yeah, I guess you're right about that. The moment was interrupted by a chilling wave of energy that swept through the gathering. Everyone shuddered, even the gods. It's feeding, Goku said quietly, his eyes distant. Another world in Universe 3 this time. We need a strategy, Whis interjected. Son Goku may have the power to confront this entity, but power alone won't be enough. The void entity exists partially outside conventional reality. I can reach it, Goku said. When I focus, I can extend my consciousness to where it is. That's because you now exist in a similar state, the Grand Minister explained. Your merger with the universal essences has placed you partially outside normal spacetime as well. Can you teach me to fight like this? Goku asked Whis eagerly. I mean, I can feel all this power, but using it is different than just having it. Whis shook his head. I'm afraid this goes beyond even angel training methods. You'll need to discover your capabilities yourself. Great, Beerus grumbled. The fate of everything rests on Goku's self-teaching abilities. Hey, I'm a quick learner. Goku protested. Actually, the Grand Minister interjected, there might be one being who could offer guidance. He turned to address the two Zeniths, who had been watching the proceedings with unusual seriousness. Your Majesties, might Grand Zeno be willing to provide some instruction? After all, he alone has experience managing multiversal awareness. The two Zeniths looked at each other, then nodded in unison. We can show Goku, they said together. Thank you, Your Majesties, the Grand Minister said with a bow. This is most generous. But first, future Xeno said, pointing at Goku, we want to see what he can do. Yeah. Present Xeno agreed. Show us a cool trick. All eyes turned to Goku expectantly. He scratched the back of his head nervously, a gesture so familiar it reassured everyone that despite his transformation, Goku was still Goku. I'm still figuring things out, he admitted. But let me try. Goku closed his eyes, concentrating. His aura shifted, taking on a kaleidoscopic quality as energy from all 12 universes flowed through him. When he opened his eyes again, they were filled with starlight. He extended his hand, and above his palm appeared a miniature galaxy, spinning slowly, a perfect replica of a spiral galaxy from Universe 2. Whoa, Krillin gasped. Is that real? It's a manifestation of his awareness, Whis explained. He's not creating it so much as projecting what he perceives. Goku concentrated harder, and the galaxy began to zoom in, focusing on a specific solar system, then a particular planet, then a city, and finally a single person, a woman tending a garden. I can see anyone, anywhere, Goku said quietly. It's pretty invasive, actually. He closed his fist, and the image vanished. I'll have to be careful with that. Cool, both Xenos exclaimed, clapping their hands. What else? Encouraged, Goku tried something different. He took a deep breath, then exhaled slowly. As he did, his body became translucent, revealing swirling galaxies and stars within him, as if his physical form had become a window into the cosmos itself. This feels weird, Goku's voice echoed, coming from everywhere and nowhere. The gods watched in astonishment as Goku's form continued to change. His arms split into multiple limbs, then reabsorbed. His face briefly showed different aspects, older, younger, alternate versions of himself from different timelines and possibilities. Enough of the light show, Beerus interrupted. Can you actually fight in this state? Goku's form solidified again, returning to a mostly normal appearance save for his shifting hair and starlit eyes. Let's find out, he said with a grin. Before anyone could react, Goku flickered and reappeared directly in front of Beerus. The god of destruction barely had time to raise his arms before Goku tapped him lightly on the forehead. The simple touch sent Beerus flying backward, crashing through multiple barriers before he managed to stop himself. Oops, Goku said, genuinely surprised. I didn't mean to hit that hard. Beerus returned, dust clearing from his clothes. Rather than angry, he looked thoughtful. You didn't use ki, he observed. What was that? Universal potential energy, Whis answered for Goku. He's channeling the fundamental forces of reality itself. Is it stronger than Hakai? Beerus asked bluntly. Whis nodded solemnly. Potentially, yes. Though far less controlled at present. Beerus grunted. Then you might actually stand a chance against this void thing, Goku. I hope so, Goku replied, his expression turning serious again. Because it's still out there, still feeding. I can feel it growing stronger with each world it consumes. As if to punctuate his words, another cold wave swept through the gathering. This time, everyone noticed that it lasted longer and felt deeper than before. It's accelerating, the Grand Minister observed grimly. The more it consumes, the faster it can consume more. Then I need to stop it now, Goku declared. Before it gets any stronger. Don't be a fool, Kakarot, Vegeta snapped. You barely understand your own powers yet. I don't have time for a training montage, Vegeta, Goku replied with a half-smile. This thing is eating worlds while we stand here talking. Son Goku is right, the Grand Minister acknowledged reluctantly. The void entity must be confronted before it gains too much power. Then I'm going with him, Vegeta insisted. No, Goku said firmly, placing a hand on Vegeta's shoulder. I need you here. If I fail, you'll be the last line of defense. Vegeta looked like he wanted to argue, but something in Goku's starlit eyes stopped him. Finally, he nodded curtly. "Don't you dare fail, Kakarot. I refuse to clean up your mess again." Goku smiled. "I'll do my best." He turned to address the Grand Minister. "How do I find this thing? I can sense it feeding, but it's spread across the edges of all 12 universes simultaneously. The void entity exists primarily in the space between universes," the Grand Minister explained. "But to confront its core consciousness, you must venture to the null zone, the place beyond the boundaries of all creation." "And how do I get there?" "For an ordinary being, it would be impossible," the Grand Minister said. "But you are no longer ordinary, son Goku. Focus your consciousness on the emptiness between universes, the space where reality thins. Your new nature should allow you to slip through." Goku nodded and closed his eyes. His brow furrowed in concentration as he extended his awareness beyond the familiar boundaries of the 12 universes, searching for the emptiness the Grand Minister described. "I think I feel it," he murmured. "It's like nothingness, but alive somehow." "That is the void," the Grand Minister confirmed. "The primordial emptiness from which all creation emerged, and to which the entity wishes to return everything." Goku's aura began to pulse, rainbow energies swirling around him as he prepared to make the transition. "Kakarot," Vegeta called out. "Remember who you are. Don't lose yourself out there." Goku opened his eyes one last time and gave his friend a thumbs up. "I won't. I promise." With that, his form began to dissolve into particles of light, spreading outward like a dissipating cloud before vanishing completely. "Is he gone?" Krillin asked anxiously. "Not gone," Whis corrected. "Transformed. His physical form has become energy to traverse the boundaries of reality." "Will he come back?" Bulma asked, voicing the question everyone was thinking. Whis didn't answer immediately. Which was answer enough for those who knew him well. "He'd better," Vegeta growled. "Or I'll find a way to drag him back myself." In the space between spaces, Goku experienced existence in a way no mortal ever had before. His body had become pure energy, his consciousness spread across the infinite void while somehow maintaining cohesion. It was simultaneously terrifying and exhilarating. "Focus," he reminded himself. "I am Son Goku. I have a mission." He pressed forward, moving through the nothingness between universes. From this perspective, he could see all 12 universes at once, great spheres of reality floating in an endless dark sea. Beautiful, yet fragile. And at the edges of those spheres, he saw it, darkness deeper than the void itself, spreading like ink in water. The void entity, consuming the boundaries of creation. Goku pushed toward it, gathering his strength. As he approached, he felt the entity's attention shift toward him. The light returns, its voice reverberated through the non-space. "Come, little spark. Let me extinguish you. I won't let you destroy any more worlds." Goku projected his thoughts outward. "Destroy?" The entity seemed almost amused. "I do not destroy. I restore. Return all things to their original state of perfect emptiness. This chaotic creation is an aberration, a temporary state that must be corrected." "That's not your decision to make," Goku countered. "Every life in those universes matters." Life, the entity contemplated. Such a brief flicker in the eternal darkness. Why defend something so temporary? "Because those temporary things are what give meaning to existence," Goku replied. "Every person, every moment, they're worth protecting exactly because they don't last forever." The entity seemed to consider this for a moment. Then, without warning, it struck. Tendrils of anti-existence lashed out from the darkness, whipping toward Goku's energy form. He dodged instinctively, his consciousness shifting faster than thought. Where the tendrils passed, reality itself seemed to unravel, leaving nothing behind. "Impressive reflexes, little spark," the entity noted. "But you cannot evade me forever." Goku knew it was right. Defense alone wouldn't work against this thing. He needed to attack, but how? His usual technique seemed meaningless in this state. He concentrated, drawing on the power of the 12 universes flowing through him. Energy gathered around his consciousness, coalescing into a shape reminiscent of his physical form but composed entirely of universal light. "What are you doing?" the entity asked, curiosity in its ancient voice. Rather than answer, Goku thrust his energy hands forward, releasing a blast of combined universal essence. The attack tore through the void, striking the darkness directly. For a moment, the entity recoiled, its tendrils withdrawing as light blazed where Goku's attack had landed. But the victory was short-lived. The darkness quickly reformed, absorbing the energy Goku had released. "Thank you for the meal," the entity rumbled. "Your power is exquisite, the perfect final course before I devour everything." Goku's consciousness reeled. Not only had his attack failed, but it had actually strengthened the entity. This wasn't like fighting Cell or Frieza or even Jiren. This was something fundamentally different. "Now, my turn," the entity declared. The darkness surged forward, not in tendrils this time but as a massive wave, threatening to engulf Goku's energy form completely. He tried to flee, but the wave pursued him with impossible speed. In desperation, Goku tried something new. Instead of running or attacking, he opened himself fully to the 12 universes within him. Power flooded his consciousness, and with it came understanding. Just before the darkness reached him, Goku expanded, his awareness suddenly stretching to encompass the entirety of the space between universes. For a brief, transcendent moment, he existed everywhere simultaneously. The entity's attack passed through empty space, finding no target. "Where are you?" it demanded, confusion evident in its ancient voice. "I'm everywhere," Goku replied, his voice coming from the void itself. "And I think I'm starting to understand what I can do." With this new perspective, Goku could see the entity in its entirety, not just the darkness spreading across the boundaries of reality, but its core, a singularity of uncreation that had existed since before time began. More importantly, he could see how it connected to reality, thin filaments of anti-existence that it used to feed upon the universes. Those connections were its strength, but also its vulnerability. Goku concentrated, gathering universal energy not for an attack this time, but for creation. Light flowed from his expanded consciousness, forming barriers around the filaments where they touched the universal boundaries. "What are you doing?" the entity demanded, its voice now tinged with alarm. "Cutting you off," Goku replied simply. The barriers solidified, severing the entity's feeding tendrils. The effect was immediate, the darkness shrank back, withdrawing from the universal boundaries it had been consuming. "This changes nothing," the entity raged. "I existed before creation, and I will exist after. You cannot destroy me, little spark." "I don't want to destroy you," Goku answered calmly. "Just stop you from destroying everything else." The entity surged toward him again, but Goku was ready this time. Instead of evading or attacking, he created a pocket of reality within the void, a small sphere of universal essence that served as a safe harbor for his consciousness. From within this protected space, Goku watched as the entity hurled itself against the barriers he'd created. Each impact weakened the barriers slightly, but they held. "You cannot maintain this forever," the entity warned. "Your consciousness will eventually tire. And I am eternal." Goku knew it was right. Already he could feel the strain of maintaining his expanded awareness and the barriers simultaneously. This wasn't a permanent solution. "I need to get back," he realized. Regroup and figure out a better strategy. But retreating wouldn't be easy. The entity surrounded his pocket of reality, waiting for any sign of weakness. The moment he dropped the barriers, it would strike. "There is no escape," the entity taunted, sensing his dilemma. "Accept your fate, little spark. Join me in the void." Goku considered his options. He couldn't fight the entity directly, it only absorbed his energy. He couldn't maintain the barriers indefinitely. But perhaps. If I can't go through you, he murmured, I'll go through reality itself. Gathering his remaining strength, Goku focused on the 12 universal essences within him. Each one represented a connection, a tether to a different universe. He seized those connections, pulling on them simultaneously. Reality rippled around his consciousness. The pocket he'd created began to fold in on itself, creating a dimensional rift unlike anything that had existed before, a direct pathway through all 12 universes simultaneously. No. The entity howled, recognizing what was happening. It surged forward, trying to breach the collapsing pocket before the rift completed. Goku poured everything he had into one final push. The rift stabilized for a split second, just long enough for his consciousness to slip through. The last thing he heard was the entity's rage as the rift closed behind him, cutting it off from direct pursuit. This isn't over, Goku knew as his consciousness hurtled through the dimensional pathway he'd created. It's just getting started. Back at the tournament venue, tension mounted as minutes stretched into hours with no sign of Goku. Something's wrong, Krillin muttered, pacing nervously. He should have been back by now. We don't know that, Piccolo replied, though his expression was equally concerned. Time may flow differently where he's gone. Vegeta stood apart from the others, arms crossed, gaze fixed on the spot where Goku had vanished. He hadn't moved or spoken since his rival's departure. Suddenly, he uncrossed his arms, eyes widening. He's coming back. Before anyone could question him, a point of light appeared in the center of the arena. It expanded rapidly, forming a swirling vortex of multicolored energy. From within this vortex stepped Goku, or rather, the being Goku had become. His appearance had changed again. His hair now flowed like liquid starlight, and his eyes contained swirling galaxies. His body seemed partially transparent, universal energy visible just beneath his skin. He stumbled forward, clearly exhausted, and would have fallen if Vegeta hadn't rushed forward to catch him. Kakarot. What happened? Goku looked up, recognition dawning in his cosmic eyes. Vegeta. I found it. The void entity. It was eating the edges of the universes. Did you stop it? The Grand Minister asked, floating down to join them. Goku shook his head weakly. Not permanently. I cut off its connections, but it's still out there. Still hungry. And it's angry now. You confronted an entity that predates creation itself, the Grand Minister observed. The fact that you returned at all is remarkable. Yeah, well, I almost didn't, Goku admitted. That thing, it's not like anything we've faced before. It doesn't just want to destroy, it wants to uncreate. Return everything to nothing. Can it be stopped? Beerus demanded. I think so, Goku replied, struggling to his feet. But not the way I tried. Fighting it directly just makes it stronger, it feeds on energy, even universal energy. Then how? Goku's expression turned thoughtful, starlight swirling in his eyes. I need to understand this power better. The entity exists outside normal reality, and now, so do I, partly. There must be a way to use that against it. The two Zeniths offered to help you, Whis reminded him. Goku nodded. I'll need their guidance. But first. He swayed slightly, universal energy flickering around him like a faulty light. I need to rest. Maintaining consciousness across realities takes a lot out of you. Typical Kakarot, Vegeta snorted. Always hungry and tired after a fight. Goku grinned, and for a moment looked entirely like his old self. Some things never change, I guess. But as he spoke, another wave of cold washed over the gathering, stronger than any before. It's found another way in, Goku said, suddenly alert despite his exhaustion. It's attacking Universe 11 now, a different approach since I blocked its direct connections. How can you tell? Belmod demanded. I can feel everything in all 12 universes, Goku explained. And I can feel when parts of them disappear. We should evacuate the threatened regions, Kai suggested urgently. There's no time, Goku replied grimly. And nowhere to evacuate to. This thing will keep coming until it consumes everything. He turned to the two Zeniths, who had been watching the proceedings with uncharacteristic solemnity. I need your help, he said directly. To understand what I've become. To learn how to use this power properly. The two Zeniths exchanged glances, then nodded in unison. We will help Goku, they declared. Thank you, Goku said with genuine gratitude. But we need to hurry. The entity is getting stronger, finding new ways to feed. And I don't think the universes can take much more. As if to emphasize his point, the entire tournament venue shuddered, reality itself seeming to flex under some invisible pressure. What was that? Several voices asked at once. Reality strain, the Grand Minister explained gravely. The fabric of existence is being tested in ways it was never meant to endure. First Son Goku's merger with the universal essences, and now the void entity's attacks. Is the multiverse in danger of collapse? Whis asked bluntly. The Grand Minister's silence was answer enough. Great, Beerus growled. So either the hungry void monster eats everything, or reality tears itself apart. Wonderful options. There's another way, Goku said firmly. There has to be. And I'm going to find it. Despite his exhaustion, determination blazed in his starlit eyes. Whatever he had become, the heart of Son Goku, the unwavering will to protect what he cared about, remained unchanged. But first, he added with a weak smile, I really need to eat something. Fighting cosmic horrors really works up an appetite. Everyone groaned collectively, and Vegeta rolled his eyes. Some things really never do change. As the gods debated next steps and Goku recovered his strength, none of them noticed a subtle darkness gathering at the edges of the tournament venue, thin tendrils of nothingness that probed the boundaries of the world of void, searching for a way in. The void entity was learning, adapting. And it was very, very patient. After all, it had existed since before time began. And it was determined to see time end. Chapter 2, Voices of Infinity. Goku floated in what looked like empty space, but wasn't. Stars surrounded him, not just the stars of Universe 7, but all 12 universes simultaneously. His consciousness expanded across realities, touching every living thing across existence. Billions of voices whispered in his mind at once. Too much, he gasped, clutching his head. Can't focus. He'd retreated here after eating 17 bowls of space noodles and promising the Zeniths he'd return for training. But the moment he'd found solitude, the voices crashed in again, countless lives, countless thoughts, all demanding attention at once. A child cried on a distant world. A king declared war on another. A star exploded, taking 5 planets with it. A butterfly emerged from its cocoon. All equally loud in his mind. All equally important and trivial. Gotta find a way to filter this, Goku muttered to himself. Like turning down the volume on some channels. He closed his eyes, which didn't help at all since he could see through the eyes of trillions of beings simultaneously. Instead, he tried to visualize his consciousness as something physical, a ball of light surrounded by countless threads connecting him to every living thing. Okay, focus on just one, he told himself, grabbing a mental thread at random. Suddenly, he was seeing through the eyes of a farmer on a world in Universe 6. The man's hands were rough from years of work, his back ached, but he smiled as his children ran toward him across the field. Too specific, Goku realized, pulling back slightly. He tried again, this time focusing on a particular universe rather than an individual. Universe 2 bloomed in his awareness, the universe of love and beauty. He felt its essence, its particular flavor of existence. Different from Universe 7, but connected by fundamental patterns. That's better, Goku nodded to himself. By focusing on universe-level awareness, the individual voices faded to a manageable hum. He tried again with Universe 11, home of Jiren and the Pride Troopers. Justice and strength were its defining qualities, though Goku could now see complexity beneath those simple concepts. One by one, he explored each universe's essence, learning to filter his awareness. It wasn't perfect, voices still broke through occasionally, but it was progress. As his control improved, Goku became aware of something else, distinct consciousnesses within himself. Not just the anonymous masses of life forms across the multiverse, but specific entities that seemed to share his composite being. "Who's there?" he asked internally, focusing on one such presence. "I am you," came the reply. "Or rather, you are now me as well." The presence took form in Goku's mindscape, a version of himself, but with the divine clothing of a Supreme Kai. "You're Universe 3 Supreme Kai?" Goku guessed, recognizing the energy signature. "I was," the mental projection confirmed. "Before our universes merged within you. Now I am a part of your consciousness, as are all my counterparts." "Wait, you mean, all 12 Supreme Kais, all 12 gods of destruction, and countless other divine beings," another voice interrupted as Beerus's form materialized beside the Supreme Kai. "We are all here, Son Goku. Our consciousness preserved within yours when the universal essences merged." Goku's mind reeled. "But you're still out there too." "I just ate noodles with Beerus." "Those are our primary forms," Beerus's mental projection explained with obvious annoyance. "What you carry are echoes. Aspects. Parts of our divine essence that were bound to our respective universes, and thus bound to you when the merger occurred. So I've got many gods living in my head now." Goku scratched his head. "That's weird even for me." "We are not living in your head," the Supreme Kai projection sighed. "We are aspects of the universal consciousness that you now embody. We can help you understand and control this power, if you'll listen." "I'll listen," Goku agreed readily. "I need all the help I can get. That void entity is still out there, and getting stronger." "Indeed," the Beerus aspect growled. "And while you're in here playing mindscape theater, it continues to feed." "I'm not playing," Goku protested. "I'm learning to control these powers. Without that, I can't fight effectively." "He's right," a new voice chimed in as another figure appeared, or rather, an aspect of him. "Son Goku must master universal awareness before confronting the entity again. Direct combat proved ineffective." "Exactly," Goku agreed. "So, how do I sort through all these voices? How do I use this power properly?" The three aspects exchanged glances, then the Whis projection stepped forward. "Begin with the fundamental principle, attention equals perception," he instructed. "Where you place your focus determines what you perceive and what fades to background noise." "Like when I focused on specific universes instead of individuals," Goku nodded. "Precisely. Now try something more challenging, focus on a concept rather than a location." Goku frowned. "A concept? Like what?" "Like justice," the Supreme Kai aspect suggested. Goku closed his eyes again and concentrated on the idea of justice. Immediately, his awareness shifted, tuning into beings across all 12 universes who embodied or sought justice in that moment. Pride troopers battling criminals. Judges making difficult decisions. Children standing up to bullies. "Whoa," Goku breathed. That's clearer somehow." "Conceptual focus transcends universal boundaries," Whis explained. "It allows you to perceive patterns across all of existence." "Can I focus on fighting this way?" Goku asked eagerly. "Try it," Beerus's aspect suggested with a smirk. Goku shifted his focus to combat, to the concept of battle itself. Instantly, his awareness filled with countless conflicts across the multiverse, from epic battles between powerful warriors to the microscopic struggles of cells against infection. The input was overwhelming, but exhilarating. Goku found himself absorbing techniques, strategies, and insights from millions of fighters simultaneously. "This is amazing," he exclaimed. I could learn every fighting style in existence this way. And therein lies the danger, Whis cautioned. Too much information, too quickly absorbed, can overwhelm your sense of self. Right, Goku agreed, reluctantly pulling back from the combat awareness. Gotta be careful not to lose myself. Indeed. The greatest challenge you face is not mastering these powers, but remaining Son Goku while doing so. As they spoke, Goku became aware of another presence in his mindscape, darker, angrier than the others, lurking at the edges of his perception. Who's there? He called out, focusing on the presence. For a moment, there was silence. Then, slowly, another figure materialized, familiar, yet chilling. So, the mortal notices me at last, came a voice dripping with disdain. Zamasu, Goku recognized instantly. But how? You were erased. Was I? Zamasu's mental projection smiled coldly. Or perhaps pieces of my consciousness survived, scattered across reality. And now, those pieces have found a home, within you, Son Goku. Ironic, isn't it? The mortal I despised now carries a part of me. The divine aspects tensed, but Goku held up a hand. Let him speak. I want to understand. There is nothing to understand, Zamasu sneered. You've stumbled into godhood through sheer luck, as usual. But you lack the wisdom to use it properly. And I suppose you think you could use it better? Goku challenged. Of course. I would purify this corrupt multiverse, eliminate the mortals who squander divine creation. Yeah, we've heard that plan before, Goku replied evenly. Didn't work out so well for you last time. Zamasu's eyes narrowed. Mock me if you wish, Son Goku. But know this, I am a part of you now. As are countless others. How long before their voices influence you? How long before you begin to question your mortal sentimentality? He's trying to get in your head, Beerus's aspect warned. Technically, he's already there, Goku pointed out with a wry smile. Then, turning back to Zamasu, you're right about one thing, I don't have the wisdom of a god. Never claimed to. But I know right from wrong, and I know erasing people just because you don't like how they live isn't right. Childish morality, Zamasu scoffed. You possess the power of creation itself now. You could remake everything according to your will. That's not why I have this power, Goku said firmly. I've got it to stop the void entity, to protect everyone, not to play God. We shall see, Zamasu's projection said, fading slightly. When you face the abyss between universes again, when you stare into the heart of uncreation, we shall see what choice you make. With that ominous statement, Zamasu's presence receded, though Goku could still feel him lurking at the edges of his consciousness. Well, that's just great, Goku sighed. Evil Kai trying to corrupt me from the inside. He is but one voice among many, the Supreme Kai aspect reassured him. And a relatively weak one at that. His consciousness was fractured by his erasure. Still, better keep an eye on him, Goku mused. Now, where were we? Oh right, learning to filter all these voices and use this power. Let us continue, then, Whis's aspect said. Next, you must learn to externalize your awareness, to manifest effects in physical reality based on your multiversal perception. Like when I made that mini-galaxy appear? Goku asked. Precisely, but with greater purpose and control. For what seemed like hours, though time had little meaning in this state, Goku practiced with the divine aspects, learning to filter his awareness and externalize his powers. Gradually, he gained greater control, able to focus on specific locations, concepts, or individuals across the multiverse without becoming overwhelmed. Yet even as he made progress, he could feel the void entity continuing its work, slowly consuming the outer edges of reality. I need to get back, he finally decided. Need to talk to the real Zenus, not just the aspects in my head. They might know how to stop this thing permanently. Go then, Whis's aspect nodded. But remember what you've learned. Control your focus. Maintain your sense of self. And try not to destroy reality by accident, Beerus's aspect added dryly. Goku grinned. No promises. Vegeta stood at the edge of what had once been a city on a distant planet in Universe 7. Now it was, nothing. Not rubble, not a crater, just absence, as if the city had never existed. Even the memories of it were fading from his mind as he stood there. It's getting worse, Whis observed beside him, staff in hand. The void entity's influence is spreading. I can feel it, Vegeta growled. It's like a cold spot in reality. They had been searching for Goku for 3 days, following disturbances in spacetime that might lead to the transformed Saiyan. So far, they'd found only the entity's feeding grounds, places where existence itself had been consumed. Why can't we find him? Vegeta demanded, frustration evident in his voice. You said he exists across all universes now. He should be everywhere. That's precisely the difficulty, Whis explained patiently. He exists everywhere and nowhere specifically. We're trying to locate a being who transcends conventional location. Then how do we reach him? Perhaps, Whis mused, we've been approaching this incorrectly. Instead of searching for Son Goku in physical space, we should attempt to reach his consciousness directly. And how exactly do we do that? Vegeta crossed his arms skeptically. Through connection, Whis replied. Son Goku may exist beyond normal space now, but he still maintains connections to this reality, emotional bonds that anchor him. You mean his family? His friends? Whis nodded. And rivals. He gave Vegeta a meaningful look. Vegeta scoffed, but didn't deny it. So what are you suggesting? That I call out to him with my feelings? He practically spat the last word. In essence, yes, Whis confirmed, ignoring Vegeta's discomfort. Focus your mind on Son Goku, not just his physical form, but your shared history, your bond as fellow Saiyans and rivals. This is ridiculous, Vegeta muttered, but closed his eyes nonetheless. He focused on Goku, on their first battle, their rivalry, their eventual alliance against greater threats. On shared victories and defeats. On the grudging respect he developed for the low-class warrior who somehow kept surpassing him. Kakarot, he thought intensely. Where are you, you idiot? Nothing happened for several long moments. Vegeta was about to give up when the air before them shimmered. It's working, Whis observed. Continue. Gritting his teeth, Vegeta pushed aside his pride and concentrated harder, focusing on his genuine concern for his rival and friend. Kakarot. We need you back here. The void thing is eating reality, and you're off meditating or whatever. Get back here and fix this mess. The shimmer intensified, colors swirling in the air. A rift began to form, not like a tear in reality, but more like reality folding in on itself to create a doorway. And through that doorway stepped Goku, or the being he had become. His appearance had stabilized somewhat since they'd last seen him. His hair still shimmered with starlight and his eyes still contained galaxies, but his form was more solid, less prone to shifting between states of matter. Vegeta! Goku exclaimed with genuine delight. I heard you calling. Man, you were thinking about me pretty hard there. Vegeta immediately crossed his arms and looked away. Don't flatter yourself. We needed to find you before more of reality gets eaten. Goku glanced around at the void where the city had been and sobered immediately. It got this place too, huh? I felt it happen, but seeing it. You felt it? Whis asked with interest. From where you were? I feel everything now, Goku explained, his voice taking on that strange echoing quality. Every life, every death, every star, every speck of dust. It's a lot to process, but I'm getting better at filtering it. Good for you, Vegeta said sarcastically. Meanwhile, this void thing is snacking on entire cities. Not just cities, Goku replied grimly. It's consumed 17 planets so far, spread across all 12 universes. Always at the edges, where reality is thinner. It's being strategic, weakening the boundaries between universes. Why? Vegeta demanded. To make it easier to consume everything else, Goku said. I learned a lot while I was away. Got some help from the aspects. Aspects? Whis inquired. Yeah, turns out I've got echoes of all the gods and Kais inside me now, parts of their consciousness that were tied to the universal essences I absorbed. Goku tapped his temple. They've been teaching me to handle all this power. Wonderful, Vegeta muttered. Kakarote's got voices in his head giving him advice. Not just gods, Goku admitted hesitantly. Zamasu is in there too. Or part of him, anyway. What? Vegeta and Whis exclaimed simultaneously. Yeah, fragments of his consciousness survived being erased, scattered across reality. When I merged with the universal essences, I picked those fragments up too. Is he influencing you? Whis asked carefully. He's trying, Goku shrugged. But he's just one voice among many. And not a very convincing one. Don't underestimate the corrupting influence of divine power, Son Goku, Whis cautioned. Even the most benevolent gods can be tempted by their own perspective. I know, Goku nodded. That's why I came back. I need to talk to the Zeniths about this power and the void entity. They might know more about both. Then we should return to the tournament venue, Whis suggested. The gods have been in continuous session since you departed, debating the crisis. Great, more talking, Vegeta grumbled. While reality crumbles around us. Sometimes talking is important, Goku replied, surprising both Vegeta and Whis with the maturity of the response. I need information before I face that thing again. Last time didn't go so well. He held out his hands to his companions. Shall we? Vegeta stared at the offered hand skeptically. You're not using that ridiculous instant transmission pose anymore. Goku laughed. Don't need to. I exist across all reality now, remember? I can just shift my focus. Hesitantly, Vegeta took Goku's hand. Whis did the same on the other side. This might feel weird, Goku warned. Different from instant transmission. Before either could respond, reality folded around them. Unlike the disorienting blur of instant transmission, this felt more like reality itself was rearranging to place them in a new location. For a brief moment, Vegeta saw everything. All 12 universes simultaneously, countless worlds, endless lives, all connected by shimmering threads of energy. Then, as suddenly as it began, it ended. They stood in the center of the tournament venue, where gods and angels were engaged in heated debate. Cannot simply wait for, Belmod was saying, before noticing their arrival. Son Goku. You've returned. The assembly fell silent, all eyes turning to the transformed Saiyan and his companions. Yeah, I'm back, Goku said, scratching the back of his head in that familiar gesture that reassured everyone he was still himself, despite his cosmic appearance. Sorry about disappearing like that. Had to sort some things out. While you were sorting things out, the void entity has consumed 17 planets, Romesh accused. I know, Goku replied solemnly. I felt each one. Tried to stop it from where I was, but this thing exists partially outside conventional reality. I need to understand it better. And have you? The Grand Minister asked, floating forward. A little. I know it's ancient, older than the universes themselves. I know it sees creation as an aberration, something to be corrected by returning everything to void. And I know it can't be fought directly, it just absorbs energy. This we already suspected, the Grand Minister nodded. What we lack is a method to contain or defeat it. That's why I need to talk to Zeno, Goku said, looking up at the two childlike figures watching from their hovering chairs. They created the multiverse, right? They must know something about what existed before. The two Zeniths exchanged glances, then nodded. We remember, they said in unison. The before time. Great. Goku smiled. Can you tell me about it? About the void entity? It was dark, present Zeno said. Very dark, future Zeno agreed. And cold, present Zeno added. Very cold, future Zeno echoed. And lonely, they concluded together. The entity was there. In the darkness? Goku prompted. It was the darkness, present Zeno said, his usually cheerful face solemn. And the cold, future Zeno added. And the loneliness, they finished together. Goku frowned. So the entity isn't just in the void between universes, it is the void? The Grand Minister stepped in to explain. Before creation, there was only the primordial void, an endless nothingness that possessed a form of consciousness. When Grand Zeno created the multiverse, that consciousness was displaced. It got angry, present Zeno said simply. Very angry, future Zeno agreed. So Zeno created reality, pushing back the void, Goku reasoned, and now the void wants to reclaim its territory. The Grand Minister nodded. Essentially, yes. The void entity is not truly malevolent in the way we understand it. It simply seeks to return to the state of perfect emptiness that existed before creation. But that would erase everything and everyone. Goku protested. Indeed. Which is why Grand Zeno sealed it away, confining it to the spaces between universes. But now it's breaking free, Vegeta interjected. Because of what happened to Kakarot. Partly, the Grand Minister conceded. The merger of universal essences within Son Goku disturbed the barriers between realities, creating pathways the entity could exploit. So this is my fault, Goku said quietly. No one is assigning blame, the Grand Minister replied diplomatically. That's not a denial, Beerus pointed out. Goku shook his head. Doesn't matter whose fault it is. What matters is fixing it. He looked up at the Zeniths again. How did you seal it away the first time? The two Zeniths looked at each other, then back at Goku. We made the universes, they said, as if that explained everything. Creation itself is the seal, the Grand Minister clarified. The light and complexity of existence naturally repels the void entity, confining it to the empty spaces between. But that seal is weakening now, Goku mused. Each bit of reality the entity consumes makes it easier for it to consume more. Precisely. A cascade effect that, if left unchecked, will eventually allow it to devour everything. So we need to repair the seal, Goku concluded. Strengthen the boundaries between universes somehow. Can you do that? Vegeta asked skeptically. Create reality like Zeno? I don't know, Goku admitted. I've got the essences of all 12 universes inside me, but actually creating new reality? That's different. Perhaps, Whis suggested, you could attempt a small test, repair one of the areas already consumed by the entity. Goku considered this, then nodded. Worth a try. But I'll need space, don't want to accidentally mess with existing reality while I'm experimenting. A reasonable precaution, the Grand Minister agreed. There is a region at the edge of Universe 7 that the entity has already partially consumed. It would make a suitable testing ground. Can you take me there? Goku asked Whis. Of course. I'm coming too, Vegeta declared, in a tone that brooked no argument. Goku smiled. Wouldn't have it any other way. The edge of Universe 7 was a strange place. Stars grew sparse, the usual cosmic background radiation faded, and reality itself seemed thinner somehow, more tenuous, as if it might tear under sufficient pressure. And tear it had. Before them stretched an expanse of nothing. Not empty space, which would still contain quantum particles and energy fields, but true nothingness, a void that hurt the eyes to look at directly. The entity fed here recently, Whis observed. This section of reality was consumed approximately 36 hours ago. I can feel the edges, Goku said, extending his senses. Where reality stops and unreality begins. Can you repair it? Vegeta asked bluntly. Let me try. Goku floated forward, approaching the boundary between existence and non-existence. He extended his hands, closing his eyes to better focus on his multiversal awareness. I need to understand the pattern, he murmured. The structure of reality itself. Through his expanded consciousness, Goku perceived the underlying framework of Universe 7, not just physical laws, but the deeper patterns that defined its particular flavor of existence. Each universe had its own signature, its own fundamental nature, yet all 12 followed certain shared principles. Drawing on the universal essences within him, Goku began to weave energy into those patterns, extending the framework of reality into the void. It was painstaking work, requiring intense concentration as he manifested not just matter and energy, but spacetime itself. Sweat beaded on his forehead as he worked, his aura fluctuating with the effort. Slowly, the void receded, replaced by newly created reality, stars forming, spacetime extending, the full complexity of existence blossoming where nothingness had been. Finally, Goku lowered his hands, breathing heavily. That was harder than I thought. You did it, Vegeta observed, genuine amazement in his voice. You actually created reality. Recreated, Goku corrected tiredly. I just followed the pattern that was already there, extended it back into the void. Still quite remarkable, Whis commented, studying the newly formed region. Most impressive for your first attempt. Thanks, Goku managed a weak smile. But it's not enough. This was just a small area, and it took everything I had. The entity has consumed much larger regions across all 12 universes. Perhaps with practice, you'll become more efficient, Whis suggested. Maybe, but we don't have time for me to practice, Goku replied, regaining his composure. The entity is consuming reality faster than I could possibly restore it this way. Then what do you propose? Vegeta demanded. Goku's expression turned thoughtful, starlight swirling in his eyes. I need to address the root of the problem, not just the symptoms. The entity itself needs to be contained again, not just its damage repaired. And how do you intend to accomplish that? Whis inquired. I'm not sure yet, Goku admitted. But I think, he broke off suddenly, his entire body tensing. It's here. What? The entity? Vegeta looked around, seeing nothing unusual. Not physically, Goku clarified, his voice taking on that strange echoing quality again. But it's aware of what I just did. It's angry. As he spoke, the temperature around them plummeted. The newly created region of space began to shimmer, reality wavering like a mirage. It's attacking, Goku realized. Trying to reclaim what I restored. Without warning, tendrils of darkness shot from the void beyond, lashing toward the restored region of space. Goku threw up his hands, creating a barrier of universal energy to block the assault. Vegeta, Whis, get back, he shouted as the barrier strained under the entity's attack. They retreated, watching as Goku fought to protect his creation. The tendrils of unexistence pressed against his barrier, seeking weaknesses, probing for ways through. You cannot create, little spark, a voice seemed to whisper from the void itself. Only I truly create, by uncreating. That doesn't even make sense, Goku retorted through gritted teeth, reinforcing his barrier. It will, when you join me in the void. The attack intensified, more tendrils emerging, striking from multiple angles. Goku's barrier began to crack under the assault. Kakarot. Vegeta called out in alarm. I've got this, Goku insisted, though his voice betrayed strain. Just need to, try something new. Rather than continuing to defend passively, Goku suddenly changed tactics. He dropped his barrier entirely, but before the tendrils could reach him, his body transformed, becoming pure energy, a being of light that radiated universal essence. In this form, he charged directly at the tendrils, his light burning against their darkness. Where they touched, neither could fully overcome the other, creation and uncreation locked in perfect opposition. Interesting strategy, the entity's voice commented. But futile. Your light fades, while my darkness is eternal. We'll see about that, Goku replied, his voice resonating from his energy form. He pushed harder, driving the tendrils back toward the void. For a moment, it seemed he might succeed, but then more tendrils emerged, surrounding him on all sides. Kakarot, pull back. Vegeta shouted, powering up to Super Saiyan Blue. You can't fight it alone. But Goku was beyond hearing. His consciousness was locked in direct conflict with the entities, reality and void struggling for dominance. Vegeta flew forward, preparing to join the battle despite knowing his attacks would likely be useless against the entity. Before he could reach Goku, however, a tendril of darkness lashed out, striking him directly. Vegeta screamed as cold unlike anything he'd ever felt seared through him. It wasn't pain exactly, more like the sensation of his very existence being negated. He fell back, his transformation flickering out. Vegeta. Goku's attention snapped to his friend, breaking his concentration. The entity seized the opportunity, tendrils surging forward to surround Goku's energy form. But instead of attacking directly, they began to absorb him, drawing his universal light into the void. Join me, the entity whispered. Become part of the true reality, perfect emptiness. No. Goku struggled, trying to pull free of the tendrils' grip. But the more he fought, the more they seemed to feed on his energy. Whis appeared beside the faltering Vegeta, staff raised defensively. Son Goku is in trouble, he observed calmly, though concern tinged his voice. The entity is attempting to absorb his universal essence. Then do something. Vegeta demanded, struggling back to his feet despite the cold still numbing his body. I cannot directly intervene against the void entity, Whis replied. As an angel, I am bound by certain cosmic laws. To hell with your laws. Vegeta snarled. Kakarot needs help. Yes, Whis agreed mildly. Perhaps you could provide it. How? My attack did nothing. Not a physical attack, Whis suggested. Something else. Something the entity cannot consume so easily. Vegeta frowned, then his eyes widened with understanding. You mean? Indeed, Whis nodded. The one thing the entity has never known, the force that drove Grand Zeno to create the multiverse in the first place. Without further hesitation, Vegeta flew forward again, stopping just short of the writhing mass of tendrils that surrounded Goku's fading light form. Kakarot, he called out. Remember who you are. Remember why you fight. Inside the cocoon of darkness, Goku heard Vegeta's voice as if from a great distance. He was losing himself, his consciousness being slowly pulled apart and absorbed into the void. Vegeta, he responded weakly. Don't you dare give up, Kakarot. Vegeta continued, pouring genuine emotion into his words despite his usual pride. Think about your family. Your friends. Earth. All the people you've sworn to protect. Within the darkness, Goku clung to those thoughts. Chi-Chi's smile. Gohan's determination. Goten's laughter. Krillin's friendship. Bulma's genius. Vegeta's rivalry. Earth's beauty. Connections. Bonds. Things the void could never understand. Meaningless attachments, the entity dismissed. Temporary distractions from the eternal truth of emptiness. No, Goku countered, his light beginning to strengthen again. Not meaningless. They're everything. He focused on those connections, not just to his immediate loved ones, but to all life across the multiverse. Every bond, every relationship, every moment of connection between beings, they formed a vast web of meaning that defied the void's emptiness. Goku's light blazed brighter, pushing back against the darkness. Impossible, the entity hissed. Your energy should be mine. It's not just energy, Goku replied, his voice growing stronger. It's life. It's love. It's connections. And you can't consume those because you can't understand them. With a final surge of effort, Goku's light exploded outward, burning away the tendrils of darkness. The entity retreated, withdrawing back into the void beyond reality. This changes nothing, its voice echoed as it receded. I will continue to feed. And when I have consumed enough, not even your precious connections will save you. Goku reformed into his physical body, dropping to one knee in exhaustion. Yeah, he muttered. Talk is cheap. Vegeta approached cautiously. Kakarot? Are you? Goku looked up, his eyes still swirling with galaxies but clear and focused. Yeah, it's me. Thanks to you. He grinned weakly. Didn't know you cared so much, Vegeta. Don't flatter yourself, Vegeta scoffed, crossing his arms. I just didn't want to have to clean up your mess again. Goku laughed, then winced. Man, that thing is strong. And persistent. Indeed, Whis agreed, joining them. The entity nearly absorbed you. Had Prince Vegeta not intervened? When he did. I know, Goku nodded soberly. I owe you one, Vegeta. Add it to your tab, Vegeta replied gruffly. Now what? Your restoration attempt just provoked it. Yeah, but I learned something important, Goku said, rising to his feet. The entity can't consume connections, the bonds between living things. It doesn't understand them. And how does that help us? Vegeta demanded. I'm not sure yet, Goku admitted. But it's a weakness. The first real weakness we've found. Perhaps, Whis suggested, it's time to consult the others. This information could be valuable to the Grand Minister. Goku nodded. Good idea. And I need to check on my family too. With all this cosmic chaos, I haven't even had a chance to see them since the transformation. They've been quite concerned, Whis informed him. Particularly your wife, who has threatened bodily harm to several deities if you aren't returned safely. Goku laughed. That sounds like Chi-Chi all right. Let's head back then. I've got a lot to tell everyone. The news of Goku's direct confrontation with the void entity spread quickly among the gods. By the time he returned to the tournament venue with Vegeta and Whis, an emergency council had been convened. Son Goku, the Grand Minister greeted him. We felt the disturbance. The entity attacked you directly? Yeah, Goku confirmed. It didn't like me restoring that piece of Universe 7. Understandable, the Grand Minister nodded. You were directly countering its work. It tried to absorb him, Vegeta added. Nearly succeeded too. Murmurs spread through the assembled gods. How did you escape its grasp? Kai asked with genuine curiosity. Connections, Goku replied simply. When I focused on my bonds with others, with family, friends, with life itself, the entity couldn't maintain its hold. The Grand Minister's eyes widened slightly. Fascinating. The power of connection, of course. What? Beerus demanded. What's of course about it? The void entity exists in isolation, perfect, eternal solitude, the Grand Minister explained. It cannot comprehend connection, the interrelation of beings. Such concepts are anathema to its nature. So what? Belmod asked skeptically. We defeat it with friendship. Several gods chuckled at this, but the Grand Minister remained serious. In essence, yes, he replied, silencing the laughter. Though not in the simplistic way you suggest, God of Destruction Belmod. Explain, Beerus commanded. The Grand Minister turned to Goku. Son Goku, when you merged with the universal essences, you became connected to all existence, correct? Yeah, Goku nodded. I can feel everything, everywhere. And that connection gave you the strength to resist the entity's attempt to absorb you? It did, Goku confirmed. When I focused on those bonds, it couldn't break them. Then perhaps, the Grand Minister mused, the solution lies not in fighting the entity directly, nor in simply repairing the damage it causes, but in strengthening the connections between all things, reinforcing the web of reality itself. How would we do that? Shin asked. I have an idea, Goku said hesitantly. All eyes turned to him. But it's risky. And I'd need help from all of you. What kind of idea? Beerus asked suspiciously. The entity exists in isolation, right? Totally separate from everything else. The Grand Minister nodded. That is its fundamental nature, yes. So what if we connected it to everything? Goku suggested. Made it part of the web it's trying to destroy. Silence fell as the gods contemplated this radical proposal. That's either brilliant or the most dangerous idea I've ever heard, Whis finally commented. Probably both, Goku admitted with a sheepish grin. You propose to create a connection between the void entity and all of creation, the Grand Minister clarified. To integrate it into the very reality it seeks to unmake. Yeah. If it can't understand connection, maybe experiencing it firsthand would change it. Or at least, make it unable to consume reality without consuming itself. The risk would be enormous, the Grand Minister cautioned. If you failed, the entity might gain direct access to all of reality through you. I know, Goku nodded solemnly. That's why I said it's risky. It's not risky, it's suicidal. Vegeta exclaimed. You're talking about forming a connection with the thing that just tried to absorb you. Got a better idea? Goku challenged. Vegeta fell silent, scowling. I thought not, Goku continued. Look, I know it's dangerous. But the entity is getting stronger every day. Soon, it'll be too powerful for even me to confront. Son Goku's assessment is correct, the Grand Minister confirmed reluctantly. At its current rate of consumption, the void entity will reach critical mass within 14 days. At that point, not even Grand Zeno could contain it without destroying the entire multiverse in the process. Then we don't have a choice, Goku concluded. We have to try something, and this is the only idea I've got. Very well, the Grand Minister sighed. What assistance do you require from us? I'll need to draw on the power of all the gods, Goku explained. Not just the aspects inside me, but your full divine essence. And I'll need to see my family first, strengthen my own connections before I try to create new ones. A reasonable request, the Grand Minister acknowledged. We will prepare the necessary arrangements. But be warned, son Goku, what you propose has never been attempted. The consequences are impossible to predict. Story of my life, Goku replied with a wry smile. Now, can someone take me to Earth? I've got a wife who's probably going to kill me for disappearing again. Earth looked exactly the same as Goku remembered it, yet somehow different through his new awareness. He could perceive its history, its possible futures, the intricate web of life that covered its surface, all simultaneously. Whis had transported him, Vegeta, and Bulma, who had insisted on coming along, directly to the Sun family home in the mountains. As they approached, Goku felt a sudden nervousness. What if they don't recognize me, he wondered aloud. They'll recognize you, Bulma assured him. You're still Goku, even with the cosmic makeover. Yeah, but what if? His worries were cut short as the front door burst open and Chi-Chi came running out, followed closely by Gohan, Videl, and Goten. Goku! Chi-Chi cried, stopping short as she saw his transformed appearance. His hair shifting with cosmic light, his eyes containing galaxies, his skin occasionally becoming translucent to reveal the universe within. Hey Chi-Chi, he greeted with his familiar grin, scratching the back of his head nervously. Sorry I'm late for dinner. Again. For a moment, no one spoke. Then Chi-Chi marched forward, looked him directly in his starlit eyes, and poked him hard in the chest. "Do you have any idea how worried we've been?" she demanded, tears forming in her eyes. 3 days. No word. Just Bulma telling us you'd somehow merged with the universe or something equally ridiculous. 12 universes, actually, Goku corrected automatically, then winced at Chi-Chi's glare. "Sorry, not important right now." "Dad?" Gohan approached cautiously. "Is it, really you in there?" "It's me, Gohan," Goku assured him. "Just, with some extras now." "Cool!" Goten exclaimed, circling his father excitedly. "You look awesome. Can you shoot stars from your eyes?" Goku laughed. "Not exactly, but I can do some pretty neat things." To demonstrate, he held out his hand and created a miniature replica of Earth, perfect in every detail down to tiny moving cars and people. "Whoa!" Goten gasped, eyes wide. "Show off," Vegeta muttered. Chi-Chi wasn't so easily distracted. "Goku, what's happened to you?" "Really?" Goku's expression turned serious. "It's complicated, Chi-Chi, but the short version is that I've merged with the essence of all 12 universes. I can see everything, feel everything, everywhere. It's been an adjustment." "Will you stay like this?" she asked, reaching up hesitantly to touch his face. "Forever?" "I don't know," he admitted honestly. "Right now, I need to be like this. There's a threat, something called the Void Entity. It's consuming reality itself, and I might be the only one who can stop it." "Of course you are," Chi-Chi sighed, a mixture of pride and resignation in her voice. "It's always you, isn't it?" "Not by choice," Goku smiled sadly. "But I'm glad it's me this time. Because what I need to defeat this thing is exactly what you all gave me: connections, relationships, love." "What do you mean, Dad?" Gohan asked. "This entity, it exists in total isolation. It can't understand connections between people, between all living things. That's its weakness. And to exploit that weakness, I need to draw strength from my own connections first." In other words, Vegeta translated bluntly, he came to say goodbye before he does something incredibly stupid and dangerous. "Vegeta!" Bulma admonished, elbowing him. "What?" "It's true." Goku couldn't deny it. "He's not wrong. What I'm planning is risky. I need to try to create a connection between the Void Entity and all of reality, make it part of the web it's trying to destroy." "That sounds dangerous," Gohan observed worriedly. "It is," Goku acknowledged. "If it goes wrong, well, let's focus on making sure it goes right." "And what do you need from us?" Chi-Chi asked softly. "Just, be with me," Goku replied, taking her hands in his. "All of you. Help me remember who I am, what matters. Before I face this thing, I need to anchor myself in what makes life worth protecting." Chi-Chi's eyes filled with tears, but she nodded resolutely. "Then that's what we'll do. Food first though, right Dad?" Goten piped up hopefully. Goku laughed, the sound pure and familiar despite his transformed state. "Definitely food first. I may have merged with 12 universes, but I'm still a Saiyan." The Sun family home filled with warmth and conversation as everyone gathered for what might be their last meal together. Goku ate with his usual enthusiasm, though he occasionally paused, distracted by awareness of distant events across the multiverse. "Sorry," he apologized after one such moment. "Still getting used to filtering all this input." "What did you sense?" Gohan asked curiously. "A star going supernova in Universe 9. A wedding in Universe 2. A child taking their first steps in Universe 6. Goku smiled. "Life, happening everywhere at once. It must be overwhelming," Videl observed. "It was at first," Goku admitted. "Still is sometimes. But I'm learning to focus on what matters in each moment. And right now, what matters is family," Chi-Chi stated firmly. Exactly. Goku agreed, reaching for her hand across the table. As they ate and talked, Goku felt his connections to each of them strengthening. Not just emotional bonds, but actual metaphysical links that he could perceive with his expanded awareness, threads of golden light connecting his universal essence to their individual souls. These connections anchored him, reminded him of his identity beyond the cosmic power he now contained. He was still Son Goku, husband, father, friend, protector of Earth. After dinner, they moved outside. The night was clear, stars blazing overhead. To everyone else, they were just distant points of light. To Goku, each was a living entity with its own story, its own place in the vast web of reality. The stars look different to you now, don't they? Gohan asked perceptively. Yeah, Goku nodded. I can see them as they truly are, not just as they appear from Earth. I can feel their heat, their life cycles, the planets that orbit them. That's amazing, Dad. It is, Goku agreed. But you know what? They're still beautiful in the old way too. He pointed up at the familiar constellations. Remember when I taught you to find the North Star? Gohan smiled. How could I forget? It was right after you came back from fighting Frieza. You said even if we get lost, the stars would help us find our way home. Still true, Goku said softly. Some things don't change, even when everything else does. As they gazed at the stars, Vegeta approached from where he'd been standing apart from the group. Kakarot, he said gruffly. A word. Goku nodded, following Vegeta a short distance away from the others. What's up, Vegeta? This plan of yours, Vegeta began, arms crossed. It's insane. Probably, Goku agreed cheerfully. The entity almost absorbed you last time, and that was just a small part of it. Connecting to its entirety. You might not come back from that. Goku's expression turned serious. I know. But I have to try. Why you? Vegeta demanded. Why is it always you who has to save everyone? Because right now, I'm the only one who can, Goku replied simply. This power chose me, Vegeta. Maybe by accident, maybe not. Either way, I've got a responsibility to use it. Vegeta scowled, looking away. And if you don't return? What then? Then it's up to you, Goku said quietly. To protect Earth. To protect our families. To keep fighting. Vegeta's jaw tightened, but he nodded once, sharply. I won't let you down. I know you won't, Goku smiled. That's why I'm not afraid. A comfortable silence fell between them, rivals, friends, brothers in all but blood. There's something else, Goku said after a moment. A backup plan, in case things go wrong. What kind of backup plan? I've left an imprint of my consciousness, a seed of the universal essence I carry, in several secure locations across the multiverse. If I'm lost, those seeds could potentially grow, restoring what was taken. Vegeta's eyes widened. You can do that? Turns out I can, Goku shrugged. One of the perks of containing 12 universes, I guess. It's not a perfect solution, but it's insurance. Does anyone else know about this? Goku shook his head. Just you now. Not even the Grand Minister. I thought, it was better that way. Vegeta understood the implication. If Goku failed and was absorbed by the entity, that knowledge would be absorbed too. Better that as few people as possible knew the contingency. You've thought this through more than usual, Kakarot, Vegeta observed, a hint of respect in his voice. Had to grow up sometime, Goku replied with a sad smile. Cosmic awareness gives you perspective. Their conversation was interrupted as Chi-Chi called them back to the group. The night grew late, and eventually, one by one, people began to retire to bed. Goten first, then Videl, then Gohan, until only Goku, Chi-Chi, Vegeta, and Bulma remained outside under the stars. You should get some rest too, Bulma suggested to Vegeta. Tomorrow's going to be a big day. Vegeta nodded reluctantly. Don't do anything stupid. Before morning, he instructed Goku. No promises, Goku replied with a grin. After Bulma dragged Vegeta inside, Goku and Chi-Chi were left alone beneath the starlit sky. Do you sleep anymore? Chi-Chi asked curiously. With your new condition? Not really, Goku admitted. My consciousness is always active somewhere. But I can rest my physical form, let my mind wander the universes while my body recharges. That sounds exhausting, Chi-Chi commented. It's not so bad, Goku assured her. It's actually pretty peaceful once you get used to it. Chi-Chi looked up at him, studying his transformed features. The starlight in his hair, the galaxies in his eyes, the occasional glimpses of universe beneath his skin. Yet still, unmistakably, her Goku. I'm scared for you, she admitted softly. More than usual. And that's saying something. Goku pulled her close. I know. I'm a little scared too. This isn't like fighting Cell or Bu or even Jiren. It's something else entirely. But you'll do it anyway. Have to, he nodded. It's who I am. Chi-Chi leaned against him, feeling the strange warmth of his transformed body. Promise me something. Anything. Promise you'll come back to us. Whatever it takes. Goku hesitated, not wanting to make a promise he might not be able to keep. But looking into Chi-Chi's eyes, he found he couldn't deny her this comfort. I promise, he said, meaning it with every fiber of his being. I'll find a way back. Chi-Chi smiled through tears. That's all I needed to hear. They stayed together under the stars until dawn began to break over the mountains. As the first rays of sunlight touched the horizon, Goku knew it was time. They'll be waiting for me, he said regretfully. The gods, the Grand Minister. We need to implement the plan while the entity is still relatively contained. Chi-Chi nodded, steeling herself. Then you should go. Save the multiverse. She smiled wryly. Again. Goku chuckled. I'll try not to make a habit of it. He leaned down and kissed her softly. For that brief moment, the cosmic energy within him quieted, leaving just Goku and Chi-Chi, husband and wife. When they parted, Goku's eyes glowed with renewed determination. I'll be back, he promised again. You'd better, Chi-Chi replied. Or I'll find a way to come after you, cosmic void monster or not. Goku laughed. Now that's something even the entity should fear. With a final smile, he stepped back, his form beginning to shimmer with universal energy. Tell the others I said goodbye, he requested. And that I love them. They know, Chi-Chi assured him. But I'll tell them anyway. Goku nodded gratefully, then closed his eyes, focusing on the tournament venue where the gods would be waiting. Reality shifted around him, responding to his will. Goodbye, Chi-Chi, he said as his form began to dissolve into particles of light. Goodbye, Goku, she whispered as he vanished, leaving her alone in the dawn light. Come back to us. The Grand Minister had been busy during Goku's absence. When he returned to the tournament venue, he found an elaborate preparation underway. The gods of all 12 universes had been arranged in a massive circle, with the angels standing behind them. At the center was a platform where the two Zeniths sat waiting. Son Goku, the Grand Minister greeted him. You have returned. Are you prepared for what comes next? As ready as I'll ever be, Goku replied with determination. I've strengthened my connections to what matters. Now I need to create a new connection, between the entity and all reality. The procedure will be dangerous, the Grand Minister cautioned. We will channel divine energy through you to amplify your universal awareness, allowing you to reach the entity across all boundaries. But the strain could destroy your physical form, and possibly your consciousness as well. I understand the risks, Goku nodded. Very well, the Grand Minister gestured to the center of the circle, beside the Zeniths. Please take your position. As Goku moved to the center, Vegeta approached him one last time. This is still a terrible idea, he muttered. Probably, Goku agreed with a grin. But it's the only one we've got. Vegeta scowled, then thrust out his hand. Don't die, Kakarot. Goku took the offered hand, gripping it firmly. I'll do my best. With that final exchange, Goku stepped onto the central platform, standing between the two Zeniths. Hi Goku, they greeted cheerfully, apparently unfazed by the gravity of the situation. Hey guys, Goku replied with a smile. Ready to help me save reality? Yes, they answered enthusiastically. It'll be fun. That's one word for it, Goku murmured. The Grand Minister raised his staff, signaling the beginning of the ritual. Gods of the 12 universes, channel your divine essence through Son Goku. Angels, stabilize the flow. Grand Zeno will provide the fundamental creative force. The gods extended their hands toward Goku, palms outward. Beams of energy, not destructive, but pure divine essence, streamed from their hands, converging on Goku's form. The angels raised their staffs, creating a complex geometric pattern of light that contained and directed the energy flow. Goku gasped as divine power flooded through him, magnifying his already considerable universal awareness. Suddenly, he could perceive not just the current state of all 12 universes, but their entire histories simultaneously. Past, present, and all possible futures unfolded before his consciousness like pages of an infinite book. Focus, Son Goku, the Grand Minister instructed. Direct your awareness toward the spaces between universes, where the entity dwells. Goku complied, extending his enhanced perception into the void. Immediately, he sensed the entity, larger now, stronger, its darkness spreading further across the boundaries of reality. You return, little spark, its voice echoed in his mind. Have you come to surrender at last? Not exactly, Goku replied. I've come to offer something else. What could you possibly offer me? Connection, Goku answered simply. Before the entity could respond, Goku reached out with his magnified awareness, extending tendrils of universal essence toward the darkness. Unlike his previous encounter, he wasn't trying to fight or resist the entity, he was trying to embrace it, to include it within the web of existence it sought to destroy. The entity recoiled at first, retreating from Goku's approach. What trickery is this? It demanded. No trick, Goku assured it. Just offering you what you've never had, connection to something beyond yourself. I need no connection. I am reality, the true reality that existed before this chaotic creation. Then why are you so afraid to be part of it? Goku challenged. That gave the entity pause. Afraid? I fear nothing. Prove it, Goku pressed. Accept this connection. Experience what you've been trying to destroy. The entity hesitated, its vast consciousness seemingly conflicted. Then, slowly, cautiously, it extended a tendril of its own toward Goku's offered connection. The moment they touched, a shock wave of energy rippled through all 12 universes. Gods and mortals alike felt it, a momentary sensation of cold darkness touching warm light. Goku gritted his teeth as the connection formed. It was like nothing he'd ever experienced, the antithesis of everything he knew and loved flowing into him, while his essence of life and connection flowed into the void. It's working. He managed through the strain. The Grand Minister observed with a mixture of awe and concern. Remarkable. He's actually establishing a metaphysical bridge between creation and uncreation. Is that good or bad? Beerus demanded. Unknown, the Grand Minister admitted. This has never been attempted before. In the center of the circle, Goku's form began to fluctuate wildly. One moment solid, the next transparent, then shifting into pure energy before reforming again. The universal essence within him churned as it interacted with the void essence now flowing through the connection. Something's happening. Goku gasped, his voice distorting. The entity was experiencing something equally transformative. For the first time in its eternal existence, it wasn't alone. It could feel, through Goku, the intricate web of relationships that defined reality. Every connection, every bond, every instance of love and hate and everything between. What is this? Its voice wavered in Goku's mind. Life, Goku answered simply. Connection. Everything you've been trying to unmake. It's too much. Now you know how I felt, Goku replied with grim humor. Overwhelming, isn't it? The entity didn't respond directly, but Goku could feel its consciousness shifting, absorbing new concepts it had never encountered before. Confusion gave way to curiosity, then to something approaching wonder. All these connections, all these beings, they create meaning where there should be only void. That's right, Goku encouraged. Creation isn't an aberration, it's an evolution. Complexity from simplicity. Meaning from emptiness. The connection between them deepened as the ritual continued. Divine energy continued to flow through Goku, maintaining the bridge between creation and uncreation. The strain was enormous. Goku could feel his physical form beginning to break down under the pressure, his consciousness stretched to its absolute limits. I can't hold this much longer, he warned. You must, the Grand Minister urged. The process is not yet complete. The entity must be fully integrated into the web of reality. Goku struggled to maintain his focus, drawing on every ounce of determination he possessed. He thought of Chi-Chi, of his sons, of his friends, of all he was fighting to protect. The memories gave him strength, reinforcing his own connections to reality even as he forged a new connection for the entity. Just when it seemed he might fail, that the strain would tear him apart, Goku felt something unexpected. The entity began to reciprocate, actively participating in the connection rather than simply receiving it. I begin to understand, its voice came, softer now. There is pattern in the chaos. Purpose in the complexity. Yes, Goku confirmed, hope rising within him. That's what we've been trying to tell you. So much I never knew. The connection stabilized as the entity's resistance diminished. The flow between them balanced, neither overwhelming the other. Creation and uncreation, existence and void, forming a new equilibrium. It's working. Goku called out to the assembled gods. The entity is accepting the connection. A cautious cheer rose from some of the spectators, though the Grand Minister remained stoic. Do not celebrate prematurely, he cautioned. The process is far from complete. Indeed, even as the connection stabilized, a new complication arose. The void essence flowing into Goku began to change him, just as his universal essence was changing the entity. His appearance shifted further from human, his body becoming a swirling nexus of creation and uncreation simultaneously. I'm changing, he realized with alarm. Becoming something, neither mortal nor void. Son Goku, you must maintain your identity, the Grand Minister called urgently. Focus on your core self. Goku tried, concentrating on the memories and connections that defined him. But the void essence was powerful, tempting him with visions of peace, of release from the constant sensory input of 12 universes. You feel it, don't you? The entity observed. The appeal of nothingness. The serenity of non-existence. Yes, Goku admitted honestly. But also the joy of being. The wonder of connection. Both have value. This simple statement, acknowledging both perspectives, created a resonance in their connection. The flow between them harmonized further, creation and uncreation finding unexpected common ground. Both have value, the entity echoed, as if testing a new and fascinating concept. Perhaps, there is a middle path. Exactly, Goku encouraged. Not total creation or total void, but balance between them. As they reached this understanding, the nature of their connection transformed. No longer was it Goku imposing connection on the entity, nor the entity trying to absorb Goku. Instead, they had found a point of genuine exchange, of mutual recognition. The Grand Minister's eyes widened as he perceived this shift. "Extraordinary," he murmured. "They are achieving true synthesis." "What does that mean?" Whis asked. "It means," the Grand Minister replied, "that Son Goku may have found a solution none of us imagined possible." In the center of the circle, Goku's transformation accelerated. His body now contained both the light of 12 universes and the darkness of the primordial void, swirling together in a mesmerizing dance. The two Zeniths watched with childlike fascination, occasionally poking at the swirling energies with delighted giggles. "So pretty," they exclaimed in unison. Goku barely heard them. His consciousness was expanding again, but in a new direction. Not just across the 12 universes, but beyond them, into the void itself, which was no longer entirely empty. The entity's domain was changing, becoming something neither void nor creation, but a new state of existence altogether. "What happens now?" the entity asked, a note of uncertainty in its ancient voice. "I don't know," Goku answered honestly. "We're in uncharted territory. I no longer wish to consume reality," the entity confessed. "But I cannot become part of it entirely. My nature remains opposed to creation, even as I now see its value." "Maybe you don't have to choose," Goku suggested. "Maybe we can create something new, a balance between creation and void. A buffer zone. A place where both can coexist." "Exactly," Goku confirmed. "A boundary that belongs to both sides, that connects them without destroying either." The idea resonated between them, gaining substance as both consciousness focused on it. The divine energy flowing through Goku shifted, responding to this new intent. No longer forcing connection, but facilitating co-creation. "Grand Minister," Goku called out, his voice echoing strangely. "We need the Zenith's help for this next part." The Grand Minister nodded, turning to the two childlike deities. "Your Majesties, Son Goku requires your creative power." "We'll help Goku," they declared enthusiastically, placing their small hands on Goku's swirling form. Immediately, Goku felt an influx of pure creative potential, the fundamental force that had shaped the multiverse initially. It was like holding the building blocks of reality itself. With the Zenith's power flowing through him, Goku and the entity began to reshape the boundaries between creation and void. Where before there had been a sharp dividing line, reality on one side, nothingness on the other, they now crafted a gradient. A liminal space where creation gradually faded into void, and void gradually acquired the qualities of creation. The work was delicate and exhausting, requiring perfect balance between opposing forces. Several times, Goku nearly lost control, the energies threatening to collapse into chaos. But each time, he steadied himself, drawing on his connections to life and the entity's new understanding of meaning. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, they completed their work. The new boundary existed, a buffer zone between reality and void, connecting them while preserving the integrity of both. "It is done," the entity observed with something approaching satisfaction. "A new order established." "Yeah," Goku agreed tiredly. "Now the void can exist without threatening creation, and creation can exist without displacing the void. And I am no longer alone," the entity added, a note of wonder in its ancient voice. "Even in the deepest void, I will maintain this connection to all that exists. And I'll maintain my connection to you," Goku promised. A bridge between worlds. With the immediate crisis resolved, Goku began to withdraw from the deep connection, preparing to return fully to his physical form. But as he did, he encountered an unexpected problem. His consciousness had become too thoroughly intertwined with the entities. Separating completely might destroy the delicate balance they'd established. "You cannot fully return to what you were," the entity realized. "Just as I cannot remain unchanged." "What does that mean?" Goku asked, though he already sensed the answer. "It means we must both accept transformation. Neither fully what we were, nor entirely new." Goku understood. The price of their solution was permanent change for both of them. The entity would forever carry an awareness of connection, a link to creation it had once sought to destroy. And Goku would forever carry an aspect of the void within him, a touch of the primordial emptiness from which all things emerged. I can live with that, Goku decided. As long as the universes are safe. Then let us complete our work, the entity agreed. Together, they carefully disentangled their consciousnesses while maintaining the vital connection between void and creation. It was painstaking work, like separating two thoroughly mixed liquids while preserving a thin membrane between them. Finally, Goku felt his awareness settling back into something approximating his original state, though forever changed by his communion with the void. It's done, he announced to the waiting gods, his voice steadier now. We've reached an understanding. The divine energy flowing through him gradually subsided as the gods of destruction and supreme Kais lowered their hands. The geometric pattern created by the angel staffs dissipated, leaving Goku standing alone in the center of the circle, transformed, but whole. His appearance had stabilized into a new form. His hair still contained starlight, but now interspersed with streaks of deepest void. His eyes held galaxies, but with dark matter flowing between the stars. His skin occasionally became transparent, revealing not just the universe within, but the perfect emptiness that framed it. Son Goku, the Grand Minister approached cautiously. What has happened? What have you done? We found balance, Goku explained simply. The void entity and I created a new boundary between reality and unreality, a gradient rather than a hard line. It allows both to exist without threatening the other. And the entity itself? Is it still consuming reality? Goku shook his head. No. It understands now. It's found purpose in connection, even while maintaining its fundamental nature. Remarkable, the Grand Minister murmured. And you? Are you still, yourself? Goku considered this carefully. Yes and no. I'm still Goku, still the same person inside. But I've changed too. Carrying a bit of the void within me now, just like I carry the 12 universes. A being of both creation and uncreation, the Grand Minister mused. Unprecedented. Is that bad? Goku asked uncertainly. Not necessarily, the Grand Minister replied. But it raises new questions about your place in the cosmic order. Before they could discuss further, Vegeta pushed his way forward. Kakarot. Are you still in there, or do I need to knock some sense into you? Goku laughed, and the sound was pure Goku despite the echo of void within it. Still me, Vegeta. Though I might be even harder to beat in a fight now. Vegeta scoffed, but relief was evident in his expression. We'll see about that. As the tension in the gathering began to ease, Goku addressed the assembled gods. The immediate danger is past. The void entity won't be consuming any more reality. But the damage it already caused needs to be repaired. Can you restore what was lost? Shin asked hopefully. I think so, Goku nodded. With the entity's cooperation, we should be able to recreate most of what was unmade. It'll take time, though. Then it seems our multiverse has a new guardian, the Grand Minister observed. One who bridges creation and void, maintaining the balance between them. I didn't ask for the job, Goku protested mildly. Few who are worthy of such responsibility ever do, the Grand Minister replied. The two Zenas floated over, examining Goku's new form with undisguised curiosity. Goku looks cool. Present Zeno declared. Very cool, future Zeno agreed. Does Goku want to play? They asked together. Goku smiled. Maybe later, guys. First, I need to go home. I made a promise to someone important. The Grand Minister nodded in understanding. Of course. Your family awaits news of your success. Not just success, Goku corrected. Return. I promised I'd come back to them, no matter what. And so you shall, the Grand Minister agreed. Though I suspect your new existence will require adjustment for all concerned. Story of my life, Goku grinned. Always bringing home new transformations. As the gods dispersed to assess the status of their respective universes, Goku prepared to return to Earth. His consciousness could perceive Chi-Chi waiting anxiously in their home, Gohan scanning the skies, Goten asking repeatedly when his father would return. Ready to go home? He asked Vegeta. Obviously, Vegeta replied gruffly. Before you get any more cosmic transformations. Goku laughed and extended his hand. Vegeta took it, and reality shifted around them. In an instant, they stood outside the Sun family home. The door burst open immediately as Chi-Chi rushed out, followed by the others. Goku, she cried, then stopped short, taking in his newest transformation. Hey, Chi-Chi, he greeted with a soft smile. I told you I'd come back. Dad. You look different again. Goten exclaimed, circling him excitedly. What happened? Gohan asked, sensing the profound change in his father's energy. Goku took a deep breath. It's a long story. But the short version is. I found balance. Made peace with the entity. Created something new. Chi-Chi approached cautiously, studying his altered appearance. The starlight in his hair now intermingled with void darkness. His eyes still contained galaxies, but with emptiness flowing between them. Are you still you? She asked softly, echoing the Grand Minister's question. Goku took her hands in his. Always. I've changed, Chi-Chi, carrying a bit of the void inside me now. But my heart is the same. My love for you, for our family, for this world, that's unchanged. Chi-Chi searched his eyes for a long moment, then nodded, accepting his answer. That's all that matters, then. As his family gathered around him, asking questions and expressing relief at his return, Goku felt the new balance within himself stabilizing. Universal creation on one side, primordial void on the other, and in the middle, just Goku, the same fighting-loving, food-enjoying, universe-saving scion he'd always been. Different, yet the same. Changed, yet constant. A walking contradiction that somehow made perfect sense. A fitting outcome, the entity's voice whispered from the void space in his consciousness. Neither victory nor defeat for either of us, but transformation for both. Yeah, Goku agreed internally. I think I can live with that. As can I, the entity replied. For the first time since before time began. I am content. Goku smiled, turning his attention back to his family. Whatever challenges his new existence might bring, whatever cosmic responsibilities might fall to him as the bridge between creation and void, they could wait. Right now, he was home. And that was all that mattered. Chapter 3, Gods and Mortals. 3 months after forging the boundary between creation and void, Goku stood on the edge of a cliff overlooking the ocean, his hair shifting between starlight and darkness as he gazed across the water. His new existence was complicated. Being a bridge between universes and nothingness meant he was never truly alone anymore. The mortals of Universe 4 are having a planetary celebration today, the voice of the void entity observed from within his consciousness. Yeah, I can feel it, Goku replied out loud, having given up on internal-only conversations weeks ago. People had mostly gotten used to him talking to the cosmic presence that shared his mind. Some kind of alignment of their 3 moons. Pretty cool, actually. His awareness stretched across all 12 universes simultaneously, feeling the lives and energies of countless beings. At the same time, he could sense the vast nothingness beyond creation, the void that had once threatened to consume everything, now held in balance through their shared connection. Dad! You ready to train? Goten called, bounding up the path behind him with Trunks in tow. Goku turned, his cosmic appearance no longer startling to his son after months of adjustment. Sure am. You boys warmed up? We've been sparring for an hour already, Trunks boasted. We're totally ready for you, even with your fancy universe powers. Goku laughed. Is that so? Well, let's see what you've got. He floated down from the cliff edge to a flat area where the boys could fight comfortably. Despite containing the essence of 12 universes and part of the primordial void, Goku had insisted on maintaining as normal a life as possible. That included training with his son and Vegeta's boy whenever he could. Ready? He asked, dropping into a fighting stance that was purely for show these days. His awareness of all possible moves made traditional stances almost meaningless. Ready, the boys shouted together, immediately fusing into Gotenks with a perfectly executed dance. Nice. Goku grinned as the fused warrior charged at him. Gotenks unleashed a flurry of punches and kicks, moving faster than most eyes could track. Goku dodged each attack effortlessly, not because of his cosmic power, but simply because his base fighting abilities were still leagues beyond the boys. Come on, you can do better than that, he encouraged. We're just warming up. Gotenks declared, powering up to Super Saiyan 3, his long golden hair flowing behind him as he renewed his assault. This time, Goku blocked rather than dodged, enjoying the feel of martial arts, something refreshingly simple compared to the cosmic awareness that filled his mind constantly. I still don't understand this combat ritual, the void entity commented. If you wished, you could simply unmake the fusion with a thought. That's not the point, Goku replied as he flipped over Gotenks' head. The point is to have fun, to improve. To connect. The entity had become better at understanding such concepts over the past months, but some aspects of mortal existence remained puzzling to the primordial consciousness. Gotenks suddenly pulled back and cupped his hands. Let's see how you handle this. Super Ghost Kamikaze Attack. A series of ghostly apparitions burst from his mouth, circling Goku with mischievous grins. Oh, bringing out the ghosts already? I must be tougher than I thought. Goku teased. Get him. Gotenks commanded, and the ghosts rushed forward. Rather than avoiding them, Goku reached out with his void-tinged universal awareness, gently disrupting the key constructs before they could make contact. The ghosts shimmered and faded harmlessly. Hey! No fair using cosmic powers. Gotenks protested. Goku scratched the back of his head sheepishly. Sorry, force of habit. Let's stick to regular fighting, okay? He deliberately powered down, suppressing his cosmic awareness to fight more like his old self. It wasn't easy, like trying to forget you know how to read, but he managed to compartmentalize enough to give the boys a fair match. Their training session continued for another hour, with Goku providing pointers and encouragement as Gotenks tried increasingly elaborate attacks. Eventually, the fusion timer ran out, and the boys separated, flopping onto the grass in exhaustion. Man, even without your universe powers, you're too strong, Trunks complained good-naturedly. Hey, you guys did great. Goku assured them. That new combination attack nearly got me. Really? Goten asked hopefully. Well, maybe not nearly, but it was pretty close. Goku grinned. The peaceful moment was interrupted by a familiar sensation, a ripple in spacetime as someone approached via angel transportation. Goku turned just as Whis materialized nearby, staff in hand. Son Goku, the angel greeted formally. I apologize for interrupting your training session. Hey Whis. Goku waved cheerfully. No problem. What's up? I'm afraid there's a situation that requires your attention, Whis replied, his usually cheerful demeanor noticeably subdued. Several gods of destruction have called for an emergency council. Goku's expression grew serious. Since his transformation, the gods had been divided in their response to his new status. Some, like Beerus, had grudgingly accepted the new cosmic balance. Others remained deeply suspicious of a mortal wielding power that rivaled or exceeded their own. What kind of situation? He asked, already suspecting the answer. The kind where you are both the problem and potentially the solution, Whis answered diplomatically. Lord Beerus asked me to fetch you immediately. All right, Goku nodded, turning to the boys. Sorry guys, looks like we'll have to cut training short today. God business. Ah, Goten pouted, then brightened. Can we come watch? Please. Not this time, kiddo, Goku ruffled his son's hair. Tell your mom I might be late for dinner. Again. Goten sighed dramatically. She's gonna be mad. I know, Goku chuckled. I'll make it up to her. He walked over to where Whis waited. So, who's causing trouble this time? Primarily Belmod of Universe 11 and Rumish of Universe 10, Whis replied quietly. They believe your continued existence poses an unacceptable risk to the cosmic hierarchy. They're still on that, huh? Goku shook his head. Even after 3 months of me not destroying anything. Change comes slowly to beings who have existed for millions of years, Whis observed. Particularly when that change threatens their position in the cosmic order. I'm not threatening anything, Goku protested. I'm just trying to live my life while keeping the universes and the void in balance. And therein lies the problem, Whis explained as he tapped his staff, preparing for transport. You possess power that should, by all cosmic laws, be impossible for a mortal to wield. Your very existence challenges the foundations of their authority. Goku sighed. Politics. Great. The gods fear what they cannot control, the entity commented within his mind. Not helping, Goku muttered as he placed his hand on Whis' shoulder. With a shimmer of light, they vanished, leaving the boys staring at the empty space. Your dad is so cool, Trunks said enviously. Yeah, Goten agreed. But I bet dealing with angry gods isn't as fun as it sounds. The Divine Assembly Hall existed in a pocket dimension between universes, a neutral ground where gods could meet without favoritism toward any particular reality. When Goku arrived with Whis, he immediately sensed the tension filling the vast chamber. Gods of destruction and supreme Kais from all 12 universes had gathered, along with their angel attendants. The Grand Minister floated at the head of the assembly, and the two Zeniths watched from hovering chairs above. Beerus spotted them first. About time you got here, he grumbled, though Goku could sense relief beneath the God of Destruction's gruff exterior. Sorry, Goku apologized. Was training with the kids. Playing with mortal children while cosmic matters hang in the balance, Rumish, the elephant-headed God of Destruction of Universe 10, scoffed. Typical. Goku ignored the jab, taking his place beside Beerus. Since his transformation, he'd been granted an unofficial position in these gatherings, neither god nor mortal, but something unique. So, he said brightly, what's the emergency this time? You are, Belmod of Universe 11 declared, pointing an accusatory finger. Your continued interference in matters beyond your jurisdiction must end. Goku blinked. My interference? I haven't interfered with anything. I've been home on Earth most of the time. While your consciousness roams freely across all 12 universes, Quitella, the mouse-like god of destruction of Universe 4, added. Observing everything, potentially manipulating reality as you see fit. I don't manipulate anything. Goku protested. I just, perceive. And occasionally help rebuild areas the void entity damaged. Without authorization, Rumish rumbled. Restoration of reality is the domain of the Kais, not some upstart scion. Technically, the Grand Minister interjected smoothly, Son Goku's actions fall within his role as the bridge between creation and void. The repairs he facilitates are necessary to maintain the new boundary. A role he claimed for himself, Belmod countered. No mortal should possess such power or responsibility. I didn't claim anything, Goku said, frustration evident in his voice. This happened to me, remember? And I'm doing my best to handle it responsibly. Your best isn't good enough, Rumish declared. The cosmic hierarchy exists for a reason. Gods create, gods destroy, and mortals live out their brief existences in between. You disrupt this fundamental order. Beerus yawned dramatically. Are we still on this? The Scion saved reality from being unmade. Perhaps a little gratitude is in order. Easy for you to say, Quitella sneered. Your universe benefits from his protection. All universes benefit from the new boundary, Shin, Supreme Kai of Universe 7, pointed out. Without Son Goku's connection to the void entity, we might all have been consumed by now. The debate continued in circles, gods arguing back and forth about Goku's role and rights. Throughout it all, he noticed that several remained conspicuously silent, particularly Laquire of Universe 8 and Arak of Universe 5. Their silence concerned him more than the vocal opposition of the others. They plot against you, the entity observed within his mind. You think? Goku replied internally this time. The silent ones calculate. The loud ones distract. An ancient strategy. Goku subtly extended his awareness toward Laquire and Arak, sensing unusual energy patterns around them. Something was off, but he couldn't quite identify what. The Grand Minister raised his hand, silencing the bickering gods. This discussion grows repetitive. Son Goku's status was settled 3 months ago when he established the new boundary between creation and void. Unless there is new evidence that his existence threatens cosmic stability, this council has no grounds to demand changes. There is new evidence, Laquire spoke at last, his fox-like features unreadable. The mortal's power continues to grow. Our observations indicate a 27% increase in his cosmic influence since the boundary was established. Goku frowned. That's not right. I haven't been trying to increase anything. Denial is hardly convincing, Arak added, speaking for the first time. Our combined divine senses cannot be deceived. I'm not trying to deceive anyone, Goku insisted. If my power is increasing, it's not intentional. They measure incorrectly, the entity commented. What grows is not your power, but the harmony between us. As our connection stabilizes, energy flows more efficiently across the boundary. Goku attempted to explain this, but Rumesh cut him off. Enough excuses. We have deliberated in private and reached a decision. Son Goku, you will relinquish your cosmic awareness and return to your proper place as a mortal, or we will be forced to take action. Relinquish? Goku repeated incredulously. I can't just give this up. It's part of me now. And it's necessary to maintain the boundary with the void. Arrangements can be made to transfer your function to more appropriate entities, Belmod stated. The angels, perhaps, or specially trained Kais. That's impossible, the Grand Minister interjected. Son Goku's connection to both universal essence and void is unique. It cannot be transferred or replicated. Then he leaves us no choice, Laquire declared ominously. Before Goku could respond, he felt it, a subtle energy field activating around the chamber, creating a containment barrier unlike anything he'd encountered before. What is this? He demanded, immediately on guard. Divine partition, the Grand Minister identified, concern evident in his normally placid expression. A technique used only in the most extreme circumstances to isolate cosmic entities. Gods of destruction, what have you done? What was necessary, Rumesh answered gravely. The field will temporarily separate Son Goku from his connection to the universes and the void. While contained, he will be vulnerable enough to be adjusted. Adjusted? Beerus growled, standing up. You dare to attempt this without consulting all gods of destruction. Those who needed to know were informed, Quitella smirked. Those who have grown too fond of their pet scion were not. Goku felt the field beginning to affect him, creating a pressure against his cosmic awareness, slowly pushing it back into some unreachable corner of his being. It was like going blind and deaf simultaneously, but on a universal scale. Stop this, he gasped, rising to his feet as his hair began to lose its cosmic luminescence. You don't understand what you're doing. We understand perfectly, Laquire replied coldly. We are restoring cosmic order. They sever our connection. The entity's voice grew fainter in Goku's mind. The boundary weakens. The boundary. Goku shouted to the assembly. Without our connection, the boundary between creation and void will collapse. A temporary disruption, easily repaired once you've been properly contained, Arak dismissed. The Grand Minister's expression turned grave. This is unauthorized divine intervention of the highest order. Release the field immediately. We cannot, Ramesh stated firmly. The procedure must complete. As they argued, Goku fought against the encroaching numbness. His cosmic senses were being systematically cut off, universe by universe. He could feel his connection to the void growing fainter as well, the entity's presence receding. Gotta break free. He grunted, gathering what energy he could still access. It's useless, Belmod informed him with smug satisfaction. The divine partition was designed to contain beings far more powerful than yourself. Even with your borrowed cosmic awareness, you cannot overcome it. Goku might have believed him, except for one critical detail: he wasn't just a being with cosmic awareness. He was Son Goku, the same warrior who had broken through seemingly impossible barriers throughout his life. Divine partition or not, he wasn't about to give up. Drawing deep into his core, Goku accessed something the conspiring gods hadn't accounted for: his own life force, his ki, the energy that had been his before any cosmic transformation. It felt small and limited compared to universal awareness, but it was entirely his, untouched by the suppression field. Kaioken, he roared, the familiar red aura bursting around him, amplifying his base power. The gods watched with mild amusement, clearly believing his mortal techniques couldn't possibly affect their divine trap. But Goku wasn't trying to break the field directly. Instead, he was creating a resonance, using his Kaioken-enhanced ki to vibrate at a frequency that called to his suppressed cosmic awareness. Like calling to like. Original to transformed. Mortal to divine. The first crack in the divine partition wasn't visible to ordinary senses, but Goku felt it, a tiny fissure through which a trickle of universal awareness returned to him. He seized that thread, pulling on it with all his might. Impossible, the choir whispered as the containment field began to visibly fluctuate. Times 20. Goku screamed, pushing the Kaioken technique to its limits. The crack widened, universal energy pouring back into him. With it came the voice of the entity, no longer faint but urgent. The boundary fractures. Reality bleeds into void. Hurry. Goku needed no further encouragement. With a final, tremendous effort, he shattered the divine partition from within, cosmic power rushing back into his being like water through a broken dam. His hair blazed with renewed starlight, interspersed with void darkness, and his eyes once again held galaxies. The conspiring gods stumbled back, shock evident on their faces. He broke through, Arak gasped. No mortal should be capable. I tried to warn you, Goku said, his voice resonating with both universal and void harmonics. Now we have a bigger problem. Even as he spoke, alarms began to sound throughout the divine assembly hall. Reality itself shuddered as the boundary between creation and void, temporarily weakened by the disruption of Goku's connection to the entity, began to fail. The Grand Minister's staff projected an image in the center of the hall, a visualization of the cosmic boundary. Where before it had been a stable gradient between light and darkness, now it showed alarming fluctuations, areas where void pushed too far into creation, and vice versa. The fools have destabilized the boundary, Beerus growled, glaring at his fellow gods of destruction. All because you couldn't accept change. We couldn't have known, Belmod began. You were told, the Grand Minister cut him off, uncharacteristic anger in his voice. Son Goku explained the necessity of his connection to maintain the boundary. Your arrogance has endangered all of existence. Can it be repaired? Shin asked anxiously. All eyes turned to Goku, who was already extending his awareness to assess the damage. It's bad, he reported grimly. When they suppressed my connection to the entity, the boundary started to collapse. Now void energy is leaking into the universes, and creation energy is pushing into the void. That doesn't sound too terrible, Quitella observed nervously. It is, Goku corrected. Think matter and antimatter, but on a cosmic scale. Where they meet improperly, both are annihilated. We've already lost 3 star systems in Universe 5. Arak paled. 3 systems. Just like that. Just like that, Goku confirmed. And it's accelerating. I need to stabilize the boundary immediately. What can we do? The Grand Minister asked, setting aside the matter of the conspirators for now. I need to reach the boundary physically, Goku replied. My consciousness alone isn't enough for repairs this extensive. I'll need to be there, at the edge of creation. I'll transport you, Whis offered immediately. Too slow, Goku shook his head. No offense, but angels travel through reality. I need to go beyond it. Without further explanation, he focused his restored cosmic awareness, preparing to shift his physical form to the boundary. Before he could complete the transition, however, a new voice interrupted. Kakarot. Goku turned to see Vegeta striding into the Divine Assembly Hall, his expression thunderous. Vegeta? How did you get here? Your angel friend told Bulma what was happening. Vegeta jerked his head toward Whis. I insisted on coming. This is a divine council, Rumish protested. Mortals cannot simply, shut it, elephant, Vegeta snapped. I'm not here for your permission. He turned back to Goku. Whatever idiotic self-sacrifice you're planning, forget it. You're not doing this alone. Goku smiled despite the crisis. It's not that simple, Vegeta. I need to repair the boundary between creation and void. It's not something anyone else can help with. So you say, Vegeta crossed his arms. But every time you face these cosmic threats alone, you come back changed. First Ultra Instinct, then Universal Merger, now this void partnership. I'm not letting you face this alone and return as some new incomprehensible being that I can never hope to match. Despite everything, Goku laughed. Still competing, even now. Always, Vegeta stated flatly. Now, how do I help? Goku was about to explain why Vegeta couldn't possibly assist with boundary repair when an idea struck him, dangerous, possibly insane, but potentially workable. Actually, he said slowly, there might be a way. But it's risky. When is it not? Vegeta replied with a smirk. I mean really risky, Goku emphasized. Like, possibly lose your mind forever risky. Vegeta's smirk didn't falter. Explain. I could temporarily share my awareness with you, Goku proposed. Not the full power, that would overwhelm you instantly, but enough that you could perceive the boundary and help me repair it. Son Goku, this is extremely dangerous, the Grand Minister cautioned. Mortal minds aren't structured to handle cosmic awareness. Even a partial connection could cause permanent damage. I'm not just any mortal, Vegeta declared proudly. I'm the Prince of all Scions. That won't protect your sanity, the Grand Minister replied dryly. My sanity has survived raising Trunks and living with Bulma, Vegeta countered. It can handle whatever Kakarot throws at it. While they debated, the visualization of the boundary continued to deteriorate. More alarms sounded as additional star systems winked out of existence, annihilated in the chaotic intermingling of creation and void. We don't have time for this, Goku decided. Vegeta, if you're sure, I'm sure, Vegeta cut him off. Do it. Goku nodded, then raised his hands to either side of Vegeta's head, not quite touching him. This will feel strange. Just get on with it, Vegeta growled, bracing himself. Goku closed his eyes, carefully filtering his cosmic awareness, creating a limited stream that Vegeta's consciousness might be able to process without being overwhelmed. Then, gently, he extended that stream toward Vegeta's mind. The effect was immediate and dramatic. Vegeta's eyes widened, then filled with reflected starlight, a pale imitation of Goku's cosmic gaze, but unmistakable. He gasped, staggering back a step before steadying himself. So many voices. He choked out. Focus on my voice, Goku instructed, maintaining the connection. Filter everything else out. Remember who you are. Vegeta gritted his teeth, his legendary willpower asserting itself against the flood of universal perception. Slowly, his breathing steadied, and his posture straightened. I have it, he managed, blinking rapidly as he adjusted to seeing reality on multiple levels simultaneously. It's incredible. And overwhelming, Goku nodded in understanding. I've limited what you're receiving to about 1% of what I perceive constantly. Any more would be too dangerous. Vegeta looked around the Divine Assembly Hall, seeing not just the physical space but the divine energies flowing through it, the connections between gods and their universes, the very fabric of the pocket dimension they occupied. How do you function like this? He asked in genuine wonder. Lots of practice, Goku smiled briefly before turning serious again. Now, can you perceive the boundary? The edge where creation meets void. Vegeta focused, extending his borrowed awareness outward. Yes. I see it. Like a shimmering wall between light and darkness. Parts of it are torn. Exactly, Goku confirmed. Now, we need to go there physically to repair it. Are you ready? Vegeta nodded, still adapting to his expanded perception. What must I do? Hold on to me, Goku instructed. And whatever happens, don't let your mind wander. Stay focused on the task, on who you are. As Vegeta gripped Goku's arm, the Grand Minister floated forward. Son Goku, even with Prince Vegeta's assistance, this will be dangerous. The boundary has never been breached so extensively before. All the more reason to fix it quickly, Goku replied. We'll return once it's stabilized. Before anyone could raise further objections, Goku focused his cosmic awareness, and both Scions vanished from the Divine Assembly Hall, not with the familiar blur of instant transmission, but with a gentle folding of reality around them. The gods looked at the empty space where they had stood, then at the deteriorating visualization of the cosmic boundary. They won't succeed alone, Beerus stated flatly. The damage is too extensive. What do you suggest? The Grand Minister inquired. We help them, obviously, Beerus growled, glaring at his fellow gods of destruction. Unless some of you would prefer to be unmade when the boundary collapses completely. Even the conspirators couldn't argue with that logic. One by one, the gods nodded in agreement. Very well, the Grand Minister declared. Let us lend our power to repair what should never have been damaged. Vegeta had experienced many strange sensations in his life, from the crushing pressure of extreme gravity to the mind-bending transition of instant transmission. Nothing had prepared him for the experience of traveling beyond the edge of reality itself. They moved through layers of existence, each more tenuous than the last, until finally emerging at the boundary between creation and void. Here, the fabric of reality thinned to nearly nothing, meeting the absolute emptiness beyond. Or at least, that's what it should have been. Instead, they found chaos. Creation and void energies swirled together in a violent maelstrom, neither able to assert dominance, both deteriorating where they met. Great gashes had appeared in the boundary, allowing void to seep into reality and reality to dissolve into void. It's worse than I thought, Goku said grimly, his form glowing with universal light as he hovered at the edge of creation. Vegeta could only stare in awe and horror. With his borrowed awareness, he could perceive the true scope of the disaster, not just the visible boundary before them, but its extension in all directions, surrounding all 12 universes simultaneously. Everywhere he looked, the damage spread further, reality and unreality consuming each other in a cosmic catastrophe. How do we even begin to repair this? He asked, his voice small against the vastness of the crisis. We reweave it, Goku replied, extending his hands toward the nearest breach. Thread by thread, connecting creation and void in the proper gradient instead of this chaotic mixing. As he spoke, streams of energy flowed from his fingers, light from one hand, darkness from the other. Where they met, they didn't annihilate but intertwined, forming a pattern that somehow incorporated both creation and nothingness in stable harmony. "I can't do that," Vegeta protested, watching the complex energy manipulation. "You don't have to," Goku assured him. "Your awareness helps anchor mine across all points of the boundary simultaneously. Feel the connection between us? Use it to steady me while I work." Vegeta focused, sensing the link Goku described, a channel of shared perception that allowed his consciousness to help distribute Goku's efforts across the vast boundary. It wasn't about power or technique, but stability, providing a fixed point of reference in the disorienting space between reality and void. "Like this?" he asked, consciously strengthening the connection. "Exactly," Goku nodded, his work accelerating as Vegeta's support allowed him to focus on multiple breaches simultaneously. "Keep it steady." For what seemed like hours, they worked together, Goku repairing the boundary directly while Vegeta maintained their connection and amplified Goku's awareness. The task was monumental, like trying to patch an ocean-sized hole with grains of sand, one at a time. "This is taking too long," Vegeta observed as another section of boundary collapsed even as they repaired a different area. "The damage is spreading faster than we can fix it." "I know," Goku admitted, frustration evident in his voice. "We need more help." As if in response to his words, Vegeta suddenly sensed new energies approaching, divine energies, dozens of them, converging on their position from across the multiverse. The gods, he realized. They're coming to help. Goku paused in his work, turning to see a remarkable sight: gods of destruction, Supreme Kais, and angels from all 12 universes approaching the boundary. Even those who had conspired against him earlier now moved with purpose toward the crisis they had helped create. "Son Goku," the Grand Minister greeted as he arrived at the head of the Divine Assembly. "The situation has been assessed. We offer our assistance." "Gladly accepted," Goku replied without hesitation. "We need to stabilize the entire boundary simultaneously, or it will keep collapsing faster than we can repair it." "A coordinated effort," then, the Grand Minister nodded. "Gods of destruction will channel destructive energy to eliminate the chaotic interactions. Supreme Kais will provide creative energy to restore proper structure. Angels will coordinate and amplify all efforts." "And my role?" Goku asked. "You are the bridge," the Grand Minister replied simply. "Only you can properly balance creation and void. We merely support your work." With that, the gods took positions along the boundary, spreading out to cover its entire circumference. The Grand Minister raised his staff, creating a complex geometric pattern of light that connected all participants. "On my signal," he instructed, "channel your divine energies according to your nature. Son Goku will direct the flow to properly reconstruct the boundary." Goku nodded, preparing himself for the influx of power. He turned to Vegeta. "This is going to get intense. The connection between us will strengthen dramatically. If it becomes too much, it won't," Vegeta cut him off. "Just focus on your part." The Grand Minister brought down his staff. "Begin." Immediately, divine energy surged from gods and angels alike, flowing through the geometric pattern toward Goku. He became a nexus point, receiving destructive force from the gods of destruction, creative essence from the Supreme Kais, and stabilizing influence from the angels. Vegeta gasped as the shared awareness between them expanded exponentially. Suddenly he wasn't perceiving just a fraction of Goku's cosmic view, but nearly its entirety. The voices of trillions of beings across 12 universes flooded his consciousness. The vast emptiness of the void pressed against his mind. The entire history and possible futures of creation unfolded before him. Too much. He choked, nearly overwhelmed by the input. "Focus on who you are." Goku shouted, his own consciousness strained by directing the massive influx of divine power. "Anchor yourself in your identity." Vegeta clung to that advice, concentrating on his core self. Prince of Science. Husband to Bulma. Father to Trunks. Rival to Kakarot. Protector of Earth. These fixed points of identity became islands of stability in the ocean of cosmic awareness threatening to drown him. Gradually, he regained control, filtering the overwhelming input as Goku had learned to do. The voices receded to a manageable hum. The infinite perspectives narrowed to those relevant to their task. I have it, he managed, strengthening his support of Goku's efforts once more. With Vegeta stabilized, Goku returned his full attention to the boundary repair. The combined divine energies flowed through him. Directed by his unique understanding of both creation and void. Where the gods could only perceive their respective domains, Goku comprehended the necessary balance between them. Across the entire perimeter of creation, the boundary began to heal. Chaotic interactions stabilized into proper gradients. Breaches sealed with carefully constructed layers of reality and unreality. The cosmic catastrophe slowly came under control. The balance returns, the entity's voice observed within Goku's mind, stronger now as their connection solidified once more. Yet something has changed. Goku felt it too, a subtle difference in the boundary structure. Where before it had been maintained primarily through his and the entity's shared connection, now it incorporated elements of divine energy from all 12 universes. The gods had, perhaps unwittingly, invested themselves in the new cosmic order. It's working, he called out to the assembled deities. Keep it up. The repair continued, section by section, until finally the last breach was sealed. The boundary glowed with renewed stability, the proper gradient between creation and void restored across its entire circumference. It is done, the Grand Minister declared, lowering his staff. The geometric pattern faded, divine energies receding back to their sources. Goku slumped forward, exhausted by the monumental effort. Vegeta moved to support him, his own borrowed awareness beginning to fade as the connection between them weakened. You did it, Kakarot, he said with rare approval. We did it, Goku corrected, straightening up with effort. All of us. The gods gathered around, examining the restored boundary. Even the conspirators seemed genuinely relieved that catastrophe had been averted. The boundary appears more stable than before, the Grand Minister observed. The divine energies have been incorporated into its structure, providing additional support. So this won't happen again if my connection is temporarily disrupted? Goku asked hopefully. It should be more resilient, yes, the Grand Minister confirmed. Though I would not recommend testing that theory unnecessarily. Goku turned to face the gods who had conspired against him earlier. I understand your concerns, he said, surprising them with his lack of anger. This power is unnatural for a mortal. But fighting against it only caused more problems. L'Quire had the grace to look ashamed. We acted hastily, without fully understanding the consequences. A rare admission from a god of destruction, Beerus commented dryly. Perhaps, the Grand Minister suggested, this incident demonstrates the need for a new approach. Rather than resisting the changed cosmic order, we must adapt to it. Son Goku's role as bridge between creation and void is now an established fact, reinforced by divine energy itself. What are you proposing? Ramesh asked cautiously. A formal recognition of Son Goku's position, the Grand Minister replied. Not as god or mortal, but as something unique, a cosmic mediator, maintaining balance between all aspects of existence. The gods exchanged uneasy glances, but none voiced immediate opposition. The recent crisis had demonstrated both the necessity of Goku's role and the dangers of interfering with it. Such recognition would come with responsibilities as well as rights, the Grand Minister continued, addressing Goku directly. You would be expected to maintain neutrality in divine disputes and limit your direct interference in mortal affairs. Goku frowned. I can't just stop protecting Earth or helping my friends. Nor would you be required to, the Grand Minister clarified. But your cosmic awareness should not be used to give unfair advantage in mortal concerns. A balance must be struck. Story of my life lately, Goku sighed. Always balancing something. Indeed, the Grand Minister smiled slightly. It seems to be your particular talent. Before further discussion could occur, a disturbance rippled through the newly repaired boundary. Not a breach or collapse, but a deliberate pulse. Like something knocking from the void side. We have a problem, the entity's voice warned in Goku's mind. What is it? Goku asked aloud, drawing everyone's attention to the disturbance. While the boundary was weakened, something escaped from the void. Something that should have remained forgotten. What kind of something? Vegeta demanded, still able to perceive some of what Goku sensed through their fading connection. The pulse came again, stronger this time, causing the boundary to visibly ripple. A coldness swept over the assembled gods, deeper than physical temperature, a spiritual chill that even divine beings found unsettling. Whatever it is, Whis observed quietly, it appears to be quite powerful. Before creation, before me, there were others in the void, the entity explained through Goku. Ancient consciousnesses that faded as I grew dominant. One has awakened, the hunger that consumes even nothingness. That sounds bad, Goku summarized unnecessarily. It is beyond bad, the entity replied. The hunger devours everything, matter, energy, consciousness itself. Even I feared it in the time before time. If it escaped while the boundary was weakened, the Grand Minister reasoned, it must now be somewhere within creation. Can you sense it? Goku asked the entity internally. Indirectly. It leaves absence in its wake, not void, which is a state of potential, but true non-existence. Follow the trail of absolute nothing. Goku extended his awareness across the 12 universes, searching for the pattern the entity described. It didn't take long to find, a path of perfect emptiness cutting through Universe 9, heading toward its center. It's in Universe 9, he reported grimly. Moving fast. My universe? Sidra, god of destruction of Universe 9, exclaimed in alarm. What does it want? According to the entity, it wants to consume everything, Goku replied. And apparently, it's very good at it. Then we must stop it immediately, the Grand Minister declared. Before it can establish itself fully within creation. I'll go, Goku volunteered, unsurprisingly. I'm the only one who can communicate with the entity, and we might need its knowledge to deal with this hunger thing. I'm coming too, Vegeta stated, leaving no room for argument despite his clearly exhausted state. The rest of us will return to the Divine Assembly Hall to coordinate defenses across all universes, the Grand Minister decided. Should this entity prove as dangerous as described, containment may require significant divine resources. Goku nodded, then turned to Vegeta. Ready for another round? Do I look ready? Vegeta retorted. Let's just get this over with. With a shared nod of determination, the two Scions vanished, heading for Universe 9 and the ancient horror newly unleashed upon creation. The planet Tychon in Universe 9 had been home to a thriving civilization of nearly 8 billion souls. As Goku and Vegeta materialized in its capital city, they found only silence. No people, no animals, no insects. Even the plants stood unnaturally still, as if frozen between moments. What happened here? Vegeta asked, his voice hushed in the eerie quiet. Goku extended his awareness, searching for life signs. They're not dead, he realized with surprise. They're just paused. Paused? Like time stopped for everything living, but not for the planet itself, Goku explained, examining a frozen pedestrian mid-stride. I can still sense their life force, but it's suspended somehow. The hunger's doing? Must be, Goku nodded grimly. The entity said it consumes everything. Maybe it starts by stopping time for its meal. The thought was disturbing enough that both Scions instinctively moved closer together, scanning their surroundings with heightened alertness. Can you sense where it is now? Vegeta asked. Goku concentrated, following the trail of strange emptiness. That way, he pointed toward the city center, where a massive dome-like structure dominated the skyline. Moving slowly now. Almost like it's savoring things. They flew toward the dome, passing more frozen civilians. The closer they got to the city center, the more unnaturally still everything became. Not just living things, but the air itself seemed motionless, creating an atmosphere so thick it was like moving through invisible syrup. Time distortion, Vegeta observed as their flight slowed involuntarily. It's affecting the physical laws around it. We need to power up, Goku decided, his hair shifting between starlight and darkness as he gathered his energy. Break through this temporal drag. Vegeta nodded, transforming directly to Super Saiyan Blue, his godly ki pushing against the stagnant time field. Together, they forced their way forward, eventually reaching the massive dome. Inside, they found it, the hunger. Unlike the void entity, which had manifested as darkness deeper than space itself, the hunger appeared as a shimmering distortion, like heat waves rising from hot pavement. Within that distortion, reality simply ceased to exist, creating a hole in the fabric of existence that hurt the mind to look at directly. Around it, hundreds of Tychon citizens stood frozen, unaware of the cosmic horror in their midst. The distortion moved among them, occasionally extending a rippling pseudopod to touch one. When it did, the person didn't disappear or die, they simply became less somehow, their colors fading, their presence diminishing as if they were being slowly erased from existence itself. It's feeding, Goku realized with horror. Not just on their bodies, but on their very existence, past, present, and future simultaneously. The hunger consumes totality, the entity explained in his mind. Every possible version of a being across all timelines. Every trace they would ever leave on reality. We have to stop it, Vegeta declared, raising his hand to gather energy for an attack. Wait. Goku grabbed his arm. We don't know what effect our energy might have on it. The entity says it consumes everything. Our attacks might just make it stronger. Then what do you suggest? Vegeta demanded. Stand here and watch while it erases these people from existence. Before Goku could answer, the distortion paused in its feeding, turning toward them, or at least, seeming to orient in their direction, though it had no discernible front or back. A sound filled their minds, not a voice like the entities, but a discordant vibration that somehow conveyed meaning despite lacking language. New // different / potent, it senses us, Goku translated unnecessarily, dropping into a defensive stance. Consume / absorb / integrate. The distortion moved toward them with shocking speed, crossing the room in an instant. Both Scions leapt aside, narrowly avoiding contact with the rippling nothingness. Guess we fight after all. Vegeta shouted, unleashing a barrage of ki blasts despite Goku's earlier warning. The energy struck the distortion and simply vanished, not absorbed or deflected, but erased as if it had never existed. Worse, the hunger seemed to expand slightly with each blast it consumed. Vegeta, stop. Goku called out. You're making it stronger. Delicious / more / give. The distortion surged forward again, this time pursuing Vegeta specifically, apparently favoring his energy's taste. The Saiyan Prince dodged repeatedly, his superior speed keeping him just ahead of the rippling nothingness. Kakarot, he shouted. If we can't blast it, what's the plan? Goku frantically consulted with the entity. How was it defeated before? How did it fade away in the void? Not defeated, the entity clarified. It exhausted itself. Consumed until nothing remained within reach, then fell dormant from lack of stimulus. That's not helpful. Goku exclaimed in frustration. We can't just let it consume until it's satisfied. Perhaps, the entity suggested hesitantly, we could return it to the void. It would still exist, but without access to creation. How? The boundary's just been repaired. We can't exactly poke a hole in it again. Not a hole, the entity clarified. A door. A controlled passage. Understanding dawned on Goku. As the bridge between creation and void, he could potentially create a temporary pathway, one specifically designed to draw the hunger back to its original domain. "Vegeta," he called out. "I need to create a portal back to the void. Keep it distracted while I work." "Easy for you to say," Vegeta retorted, narrowly evading another lunge from the distortion. "This thing is getting faster." Indeed, the hunger seemed to be adapting to Vegeta's evasive patterns, anticipating his movements with increasing accuracy. Each near miss left Vegeta noticeably drained, as if proximity alone allowed it to feed on his energy. Knowing time was short, Goku focused inward, accessing the void aspect of his dual nature. Since merging with the entity's consciousness, he had primarily used his universal awareness, rarely tapping into the void powers he'd gained. Now, he embraced that cold emptiness, allowing it to flow through him. His appearance shifted subtly as he worked. The starlight in his hair dimmed, the void darkness becoming dominant. His eyes lost their galactic depth, becoming pools of absolute nothing. His skin turned pale, almost translucent, revealing the emptiness within rather than the usual cosmos. "Careful," the entity cautioned. "Balance must be maintained, even now." "I know," Goku replied, struggling to keep his universal aspect active even as he channeled void energy. "Just need enough void power to create the pathway." Extending his hands before him, Goku began to forge the portal, not by tearing reality, but by carefully folding it, creating a passage that connected to the void without damaging the boundary. It was delicate work, requiring precision control of both creative and uncreative forces simultaneously. Meanwhile, Vegeta's situation grew increasingly desperate. The hunger had cornered him against a wall, cutting off his escape routes with rippling pseudopods of non-existence. "Consume // complete / continue, Kakarot." Vegeta shouted, his voice strained. "Whatever you're doing, do it faster." "Almost, there." Goku grunted, the portal slowly taking shape between his outstretched hands, a perfect circle of nothingness, a controlled window into the void beyond creation. The hunger suddenly paused in its pursuit of Vegeta, turning toward the forming portal. It seemed to recognize what Goku was creating, and its reaction was immediate and violent. "Reject / refuse / remain at abandon Vegeta entirely, surging toward Goku with frightening purpose. Unlike its previous movements, which had been almost casual, now it moved with desperate speed, a predator sensing a trap and determined to stop it. "Goku!" Vegeta shouted in warning, but it was too late. The distortion slammed into Goku before he could complete the portal. He screamed as the hunger made contact, not with his physical form, but with his very existence. It began to feed on him just as it had the citizens of Tychon, but with much greater intensity, drawn to his unique dual nature. Unique / perfect / consume, no. Vegeta roared, charging forward despite knowing the risk. He grabbed Goku's shoulder, trying to pull him away from the distortion. The moment he made contact, something unexpected happened. The lingering connection between them, the shared awareness Goku had granted him earlier, suddenly reactivated, flaring to full strength. Through that connection, Vegeta felt exactly what Goku experienced as the hunger fed on him. It wasn't pain, exactly. It was erasure, the systematic unmaking of one's entire existence across all possible timelines and realities. The hunger wasn't just consuming Goku's present form, but every version of him that had ever existed or might ever exist. "Fight it, Kakarot!" Vegeta shouted, both aloud and through their mental link. "Your son Goku. The most annoying, persistent, impossible to kill warrior in 12 universes. You don't get erased." Through their connection, Vegeta poured his own energy, his own identity, his own stubborn refusal to be overcome. It wasn't much against a force that consumed existence itself, but it was something, an anchor, a reminder, a lifeline. Inside Goku's fading consciousness, the entity stirred, adding its ancient will to the struggle. "We are the bridge," it reminded him. "Neither solely creation nor void, but balance between them." The hunger cannot fully consume what it cannot fully comprehend. With effort born of desperation, Goku reasserted control over his dual nature. Drawing on both universal creation and primordial void simultaneously, he generated a unique energy, neither existence nor non-existence, but the balance point between them. This energy disrupted the hunger's feeding process, creating a feedback loop that forced it to retreat momentarily. In that brief respite, Goku completed the portal, tearing it wide open with a final surge of balanced power. The void beyond beckoned, not hostile as it once had been, but familiar now, part of Goku's own dual nature. The portal exerted a natural pull on the hunger, calling to its original nature, reminding it of its ancient home. Familiar // remember / hesitate for a crucial moment, the hunger paused, caught between its feeding frenzy and the siren call of the void. That hesitation was all Goku needed. Now, Vegeta, he shouted, both vocally and mentally through their connection. Understanding instantly, Vegeta channeled everything he had into a final flash, not aimed at the hunger itself, but at the space behind it. The massive energy beam didn't try to damage the distortion, but instead created a powerful pressure wave, pushing it toward the portal. Caught between Vegeta's pressure and the portal's pull, the hunger slid inexorably toward the void. It resisted, extending pseudopods in all directions, trying to anchor itself to reality. Refuse / reject / remain, oh no you don't, Goku growled, using his connection to the void to enhance the portal's draw. You're going home. With a final, discordant mental scream, the hunger was pulled through the portal, back into the void from which it had emerged. The moment it passed through completely, Goku closed the passage with a decisive gesture, sealing it permanently. Silence fell over the dome as the last ripples of distortion vanished. Gradually, time resumed its normal flow for the frozen citizens, who continued their activities oblivious to the cosmic drama that had just occurred. Goku collapsed to his knees, his appearance slowly returning to its balanced state, hair containing both starlight and void darkness, eyes showing galaxies among emptiness. Vegeta knelt beside him, the shared awareness between them fading once more, but not before he felt Goku's overwhelming relief. You look terrible, Vegeta commented, helping him to his feet. Feel terrible too, Goku admitted with a weak smile. Being partially erased from existence isn't fun. Will you recover? Vegeta asked, uncharacteristic concern in his voice. Goku assessed his condition through his cosmic awareness. Yeah, I think so. The hunger only managed to consume fragments of my existence. The core of who I am remained protected by the balance between universal essence and void. Good, Vegeta nodded gruffly. Because Bulma's birthday is next week, and you promised to help with the preparations. Goku laughed, then winced as the action caused painful feedback across his still recovering awareness. Trust you to remember that now. Someone has to keep you connected to normal life, Vegeta replied. Cosmic mediator or not. As they prepared to return to the Divine Assembly Hall, Goku reached out through his connection to the entity, checking the status of the hunger in the void. It is contained, the entity assured him. Back in its original domain, it will eventually return to dormancy. I will ensure it remains there. Thank you, Goku replied sincerely. For everything. We are partners now, the entity reminded him. The bridge cannot stand with only one support. With that reassurance, Goku focused his remaining energy, transporting himself and Vegeta back to the waiting gods. The Divine Assembly Hall erupted in relieved conversation as Goku and Vegeta materialized in its center. The visualization of Universe 9 that the gods had been anxiously monitoring showed the hunger's presence completely vanished, with no trace of its distortion remaining. Son Goku, Prince Vegeta, the Grand Minister greeted them formally. You have succeeded in returning the escaped entity to the void. Barely, Vegeta muttered, still supporting Goku's weakened form. The threat has been contained, Goku confirmed, straightening with effort. The hunger is back where it belongs, and the entity will ensure it stays there. You have our gratitude, Sidra stated, genuine relief in his voice. My universe was nearly consumed. The citizens of Tychon? Beerus inquired. Unharmed, mostly, Goku reported. Some may have been partially diminished by the hunger's feeding. But the majority never even realized what was happening. A fortunate outcome, the Grand Minister observed. Though it raises troubling questions about what else might lurk beyond the void, waiting for opportunities to enter creation. The entity says the hunger was the most dangerous of the ancient void consciousnesses, Goku assured them. The others faded completely eons ago. Nevertheless, the Grand Minister continued, today's events have demonstrated both the fragility and resilience of our new cosmic order. The boundary was breached, yet repaired. An ancient threat emerged, yet was contained. And through it all, the balance between creation and void was maintained. He turned to address the full assembly. I believe recent events have settled the question of Son Goku's role. His position as bridge between creation and void is not merely useful, but necessary for the continued stability of our multiverse. Even the gods who had conspired against Goku earlier nodded in reluctant agreement. The evidence was too compelling to deny. Therefore, the Grand Minister declared, I propose a formal recognition of Son Goku's position in the cosmic hierarchy, not as god or mortal alone, but as mediator of balance, maintaining equilibrium between all states of existence. I second the proposal, Beerus stated immediately. As do I, Kai of Universe 11 added, surprising everyone with his support after Belmod's earlier opposition. One by one, representatives from each universe voiced their agreement, until all 12 had consented to the new arrangement. It is decided, then, the Grand Minister concluded. Son Goku, do you accept this responsibility? Goku looked around at the assembled gods, then at Vegeta, who gave him a subtle nod of encouragement. I accept, he said finally. As long as it doesn't mean I have to stop living my life on Earth. I'm still a husband, a father, a friend, and a martial artist who wants to keep training and fighting. Balance applies to your own existence as well, the Grand Minister acknowledged with a smile. A mediator who loses touch with mortal concerns would be of little use in understanding the needs of creation. Then we're good, Goku grinned, some of his old carefree attitude returning despite his exhaustion. There is one final matter to address, the Grand Minister added, his expression growing serious once more. The shared awareness between you and Prince Vegeta during the crisis. Vegeta straightened, crossing his arms defensively. What about it? Such connections are not without consequences, the Grand Minister explained. Brief exposure to cosmic awareness leaves traces, changes to consciousness that cannot be entirely reversed. Are you saying I'm stuck with some of Kakarot's cosmic garbage in my head permanently? Vegeta demanded. In a manner of speaking, yes, the Grand Minister confirmed. Though garbage is perhaps not the most accurate term. Think of it more as expanded perception. Limited compared to Son Goku's full awareness, but beyond normal mortal capacity nonetheless. What kind of expansion? Vegeta asked cautiously. The Grand Minister studied him thoughtfully. You will likely retain some ability to perceive connections between beings, to sense the deeper patterns of reality. Perhaps even to communicate across greater distances than before. The exact manifestations will emerge over time. Great, Vegeta muttered. Just what I needed. More voices in my head. Consider it a gift, Goku suggested with a teasing smile. Now you'll have a better chance of keeping up with me. As if I needed cosmic awareness for that, Vegeta scoffed, though there was no real heat in his voice. With the formal matters concluded, the gods began to disperse, returning to their respective universes to address any lingering effects from the boundary breach and the hunger's brief incursion. Beerus approached Goku before departing. Mediator of balance, he mused. A fancy title for a scion who still can't remember to use chopsticks properly. Hey, I'm trying. Goku protested with a laugh. See that you do, Beerus replied. Then, more seriously, this position puts you in a precarious situation, Goku. Neither fully god nor mortal, answerable to both sides yet bound by neither's rules completely. It won't be easy. When is it ever? Goku shrugged. I'll figure it out as I go. Always have. Indeed, Beerus acknowledged with a slight smile. Just try not to destroy reality while you're figuring it out. No promises, Goku replied cheerfully. As Beerus and Whis prepared to return to Universe 7, Vegeta joined them, pointedly ignoring the Grand Minister's continued curious observation of his altered energy signature. Ready to go home, Kakarot? He asked. Or do you have more cosmic balancing to do? Home sounds perfect, Goku agreed, his exhaustion evident despite his cheerful demeanor. Chi-Chi's probably wondering where we've been. Bulma too, Vegeta nodded. And I'm not explaining any of this to her. That's your job. Fair enough, Goku laughed. He turned to the Grand Minister with a respectful bow. Thank you for your help today. With the boundary and everything else. The thanks are mutual, mediator, the Grand Minister replied formally. Your actions today have preserved the integrity of creation itself. With final farewells exchanged, the group from Universe 7 departed, leaving the Divine Assembly Hall to return to their respective homes. 6 months after the events at the boundary, life had found a new normal, or as normal as it could be when one family member existed as a bridge between creation and void. Goku sat cross-legged in the air above Mount Paozu, his appearance now stabilized into its dual-natured form. His hair contained both starlight and void darkness, his eyes reflected galaxies floating in emptiness, and occasional glimpses of cosmos and nothingness showed through his skin when he used his powers. But at the moment, he wasn't using cosmic abilities at all. He was simply enjoying the sunset, filtering his vast awareness to focus on this single beautiful moment on Earth. Dinner's ready. Chi-Chi called from outside their home below. Gohan and Videl are here with Pan. Coming. Goku replied with genuine enthusiasm. Whatever cosmic responsibilities he had taken on, food with family remained one of his greatest joys. He floated down to where everyone had gathered around the outdoor table, Chi-Chi, Gohan, Videl, Little Pan, and Goten, who was busy setting out plates. The delicious aroma of Chi-Chi's cooking made his mouth water instantly. Dad, you were meditating again? Gohan asked as Goku landed. Sort of, Goku replied, taking his seat. The Grand Minister suggested regular periods of focused awareness to maintain proper balance. But really, I was just enjoying the view. How's the cosmic mediating business? Videl asked, bouncing Pan on her knee. Pretty quiet lately, Goku shrugged. Had to help smooth out some weird time distortions in Universe 2 last week. And I checked the boundary daily, but it's holding strong. That's good, Chi-Chi commented, passing him a heaping bowl of rice. I prefer you mediating from home rather than disappearing for days. Me too, Goku agreed, digging in with his usual enthusiasm. As they ate and chatted, enjoying the simple pleasure of family dinner, Goku felt a familiar presence approaching. Moments later, Vegeta landed nearby, followed by Bulma in one of her air cars with Trunks. Vegeta. Bulma. Goku called out happily. Join us. There's plenty. We just ate, Vegeta replied gruffly, though he eyed the food with interest. Bulma wanted to show you something. That's right, Bulma confirmed, carrying what looked like a small device. I've been working on this for months, and I think I've finally got it. What is it? Gohan asked curiously. A cosmic frequency modulator, Bulma declared proudly, holding up the device. It should help Goku filter his awareness more efficiently, letting him focus on specific universes or concepts without so much mental strain. Really? Goku asked, genuinely impressed. But how? This is metaphysical stuff, not technology. Everything has a frequency, Bulma explained confidently. Even cosmic awareness. This device creates a resonance field that amplifies certain patterns while dampening others, based on your intent. She's been obsessed with it since I told her about the shared awareness experience, Vegeta added. Wouldn't stop pestering me for details. For science. Bulma declared unapologetically. Want to try it? Sure, Goku agreed, always game for something new. What do I do? Just hold it and think about what aspect of your awareness you want to focus on, Bulma instructed, handing him the sleek, palm-sized device. Maybe start with something simple, like just Universe 7. Goku took the device, noting how it seemed to respond to his touch, lights along its surface pulsing in time with his dual energies. He concentrated on Universe 7, directing his intent into the device as Bulma had suggested. Immediately, he felt a shift in his perception. The constant background noise of 11 other universes faded significantly, allowing his awareness of Universe 7 to come into crystal clear focus. It was like putting on glasses after years of slightly blurry vision. Wow, he exclaimed. It's working. I can see Universe 7 so clearly now, without having to constantly filter out everything else. I knew it. Bulma pumped her fist triumphantly. Take that, metaphysical limitations. This is amazing, Bulma, Goku said sincerely, adjusting the device slightly to modify its effect. It doesn't block anything completely, I can still sense the other universes if I need to, but it makes focusing so much easier. That's the idea, Bulma nodded. I figured you wouldn't want to cut off any awareness completely, just organize it better. You're a genius, Chi-Chi told Bulma gratefully. Maybe now he won't zone out in the middle of conversations when something interesting happens in Universe 4. I don't do that. Goku protested, then sheepishly added, well, not that often, anyway. Everyone laughed, including Vegeta, who had gradually come to terms with his own lingering cosmic awareness. The traces left by his shared connection with Goku had developed as the Grand Minister predicted, enhanced perception of energy patterns, occasional glimpses of connections between beings, and very rarely, brief moments of wider cosmic insight. Have you noticed any changes with your awareness lately? Gohan asked his father as they continued eating. Goku considered the question seriously. It's getting more integrated, he replied. At first, it felt like having the universes and the void as separate things inside me. Now, they're blending more smoothly, like they're both just aspects of a single awareness. Is that good? Chi-Chi asked. I think so, Goku nodded. The Grand Minister says it means I'm growing into my role as mediator, finding true balance instead of just holding opposites together. And the entity? Vegeta inquired. Still chatty? Less so, Goku replied. We're more synchronized now. Often understanding without needing words. As if summoned by the conversation, he felt the entity's presence stir within his consciousness. The mortals celebrate connection, it observed. As they should. It is their greatest strength. And yours now too, Goku reminded it internally. Indeed. A truth I never imagined accepting in the eons before we met. Their silent exchange was interrupted by a familiar ripple in reality, the signature of divine transportation. Everyone turned as Whis appeared beside the table, staff in hand. Good evening, the angel greeted pleasantly. I apologize for interrupting your family gathering. Hey Whis. Goku waved cheerfully. Want some food? Perhaps another time, Whis declined politely. I'm afraid I come on official business. The Grand Minister requests your presence, mediator. Goku's expression turned serious. What's happened? Nothing catastrophic, Whis assured him quickly. But there have been unusual energy readings at the boundary. Fluctuations that don't match any known pattern. I haven't sensed anything, Goku frowned, checking his cosmic awareness. The disturbances are subtle, Whis explained. Below the threshold of individual detection, even for one with your perception. It required the combined observations of all 12 angels to identify the pattern. I should go check it out, Goku decided, rising from the table. With visible reluctance. Sorry about dinner, Chi-Chi. It's okay, she sighed, long accustomed to such interruptions. Will you be back tonight? Should be, Goku assured her, leaning down to kiss her cheek. This sounds more like investigation than emergency. I'm coming too, Vegeta declared, standing abruptly. That won't be necessary, Whis began. Wasn't asking permission, Vegeta cut him off. If there's something unusual at the boundary, my perspective might be useful. I've experienced both sides. Whis considered this, then nodded. Very well. The Grand Minister specifically mentioned that diversity of perception might be valuable in this situation. Be careful, both of you, Bulma instructed, giving Vegeta a quick hug. Always am, Vegeta replied, though his smirk suggested otherwise. We'll be back soon, Goku promised, handing Bulma's device back to her. And thanks for this, I'll definitely want to use it more when I return. With final goodbyes exchanged, the three of them vanished, leaving the family dinner to continue without them. Some things never change, Chi-Chi observed, though her tone held more affection than frustration. Cosmic mediator or not, he's still running off to save the day. Would we want him any other way? Gohan asked with a knowing smile. Chi-Chi considered this, then shook her head. No, I suppose not. That's just who Goku is, across all 12 universes. The boundary between creation and void looked different now than it had 6 months ago. Where once it had been merely functional, a gradient separating opposing forces, now it had developed character. Patterns flowed across its surface, representing the constant dialogue between existence and non-existence. In places, it almost resembled art, cosmic energies arranging themselves in beautiful, ever-shifting designs. Fascinating, the Grand Minister observed as Goku, Vegeta, and Whis arrived at the observation point. The boundary continues to evolve. It's alive, in a way, Goku explained, approaching the shimmering barrier. Not conscious like the entity, but responsive. Adapting. That may explain the fluctuations we've detected, the Grand Minister mused. Growth rather than degradation. Vegeta studied the boundary with his enhanced perception, noting details his normal senses would never have detected. There's a pattern to the changes, he observed. Like, communication. Goku nodded, impressed by Vegeta's insight. The boundary is where creation and void exchange information. Every point of contact between opposing forces creates new patterns, new possibilities. Is this cause for concern? Whis inquired. I don't think so, Goku replied, extending his awareness along the boundary's full circumference. It feels healthy. Natural evolution rather than disruption. It strengthens, the entity agreed within his mind. Becoming more than just separation, a true interface between states of being. Goku relayed this assessment to the others, adding, the entity sees it as positive development. Greater stability through increased complexity. Nevertheless, the Grand Minister cautioned, such evolution should be monitored. Any boundary, no matter how stable, can become a potential point of weakness if it changes too rapidly. I can establish regular checkpoints, Goku offered. Not just daily observation, but deeper analysis of the boundary structure and development. An excellent suggestion, the Grand Minister approved. Perhaps with Prince Vegeta's assistance, given his unique perspective. Vegeta raised an eyebrow. You want me involved in cosmic maintenance now too? Your experience with shared awareness created unexpected insights, the Grand Minister explained. You perceive patterns that even Son Goku might overlook, precisely because your perspective remains partially mortal. Fine, Vegeta agreed reluctantly. But I'm not wearing any ridiculous official outfit. Goku laughed. Don't worry, the cosmic dress code is pretty relaxed. As they discussed arrangements for ongoing boundary monitoring, Goku sensed something new, a ripple in the fabric of reality, similar to divine transportation but somehow different. Before he could mention it, a portal opened nearby, similar to the ones Whis created but with unfamiliar energy signatures. Through this portal stepped a group of beings unlike any Goku had encountered before. They appeared humanoid, but their bodies seemed composed of pure energy rather than physical matter. They radiated power comparable to angels, yet fundamentally different in nature. Visitors, the Grand Minister observed calmly, though Goku noted a subtle shift in his stance, more alert, more guarded. The leader of the group stepped forward, its energy form shimmering with colors beyond the normal spectrum. When it spoke, its voice resonated on multiple frequencies simultaneously. "Greetings, denizens of creation," it said. "We come from beyond." "Beyond?" Vegeta questioned skeptically. "Beyond creation, beyond void," the being clarified. "What you would call the outer reality, the metacosmos that contains all possible existence and non-existence." Goku's eyes widened. Even with his cosmic awareness, he had perceived nothing beyond the 12 universes and the void that surrounded them. The idea that there existed something even further beyond, a greater reality containing their entire multiverse, was staggering. "We have observed the recent changes to your cosmic boundary," another of the energy beings continued. "The emergence of a mediator between states. The integration of creation and void. These developments are unprecedented." "And concerning," the Grand Minister inquired diplomatically. "Intriguing," the leader corrected. "In infinite iterations of reality formation, we have never witnessed successful symbiosis between creation and void. Always, one eventually consumes the other, resulting in total reset." "Reset?" Goku asked, not liking the sound of that. "Collapse and reformation," the being explained. "The cycle by which reality refreshes itself when balance becomes impossible to maintain." "Are you saying our multiverse was headed for collapse before the boundary was established?" the Grand Minister asked. "Inevitably," the being confirmed. "The separation between creation and void was unstable, growing more so with each cycle. Eventually, catastrophic failure would have occurred." "But now?" Goku pressed. The beings exchanged glances, or what appeared to be the energy equivalent of such communication. "Now, a new pattern emerges," the leader stated. "One we wish to observe further. You, mediator," it addressed Goku directly, "represent an evolutionary step in cosmic development. A bridge that might prevent endless cycles of collapse and reformation. That's good, right?" Goku asked, feeling oddly like a specimen under examination. "From our perspective, yes," the being replied. "Change is the only constant across all meta-reality. New patterns are to be studied, understood, perhaps even, replicated." Something about that last word sent a chill through Goku. "Replicated how, exactly?" "In other iterations," the being explained. "Other multiverses facing similar instability might benefit from the introduction of mediators." "Wait," Vegeta interjected, his tactical mind quickly grasping implications. "You're saying there are other multiverses? Other sets of 12 universes with their own gods and void boundaries?" "Infinite iterations," the being confirmed. "Some nearly identical to yours, others wildly divergent. All facing the same fundamental challenge of maintaining balance between opposing cosmic forces." The Grand Minister stepped forward. "While we appreciate your interest in our evolutionary path, I must ask, what is your purpose here, beyond observation? Do you intend to interfere with our development?" The leader's energy form pulsed slightly, perhaps their version of a smile. "Direct interference is not our way. We are observers primarily, facilitators occasionally. We come to establish formal recognition of your multiverse's transition to balanced state status." "Which means," the Grand Minister prompted. "Protection from external reset triggers," the being explained. "Multiverses that achieve natural balance are granted autonomy. Something went wrong with this response, please try again. Continue into the next chapter." The end. Thank you for watching this video. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video.